Empty Hero, and today I've been negotiating with a certain somebody for months, trying to get permission to do this.
Oh, and I can hear myself. Let's pause that.
And well, let's just say this person does not want to be named.
Expensive.
Okay. Oh wait.
Anti-Bully Ranger
news.
tipped $3.33. Is this an attempt at a preemptive eulogy? Sadly, I don't think the Cyclops will be felled by his mentors. That would require him saving up enough money to buy an airplane ticket / passport / visa.
All right, thank you very much. You know, for some reason that guy brought up the fact that a certain Jama wants to get into a boxing match with Sam Hyde, but this novel is completely unrelated to that other person, because the person that wrote this wants to remain anonymous. I think it's actually a Chinese fella, last name Ma, first named Jim. They wrote this novel, about a year or two ago, and they put it up on Amazon.com, the same way I sell my Europe, Hillary's Invasion in Europe 2, Barack's Apocalypse. And I noticed a little something about the title of this novel, YOOTOOB, ! Susan's Day Retribution, kind of stuck out to me as a little familiar. I'm not sure why. Anyways, this person, they called in a bomb threat to a synagogue, and the FBI took their computer. So they just so happened to send me a digital copy before that happened, and I am quite possibly the only person in the world who has this. I did at one point share it with a couple of people, but they have since lost their Discord accounts that I sent it to them on, and I don't think they still have copies. And I finally today got permission to read this. So we're going to play a couple of songs, give people a chance to cue in. Then I've got a special announcement for my own books, a little video I'll show you guys. It's like 30 seconds long. And this novel is like 18,000 words. That puts it roughly in novella territory. It should be 45 minutes to an hour and a half to read. I won't take up too much of your guys' time, but let's go to the starting soon overlay. And we're going to play a couple of alternate takes. So this is the Imagine Barbussy song, but without Chris Chan screaming.
Imagine no incest laws. It's easy if you try. No more fail of west. Inside my mind. Imagine all the unrelations slamming marble sea. Imagine many pennies slathered with gold and blue. Why waste all that sweet navy? Of my head. Imagine both moms but chains clapping to the extreme. Somehow it's true. May say I'm a creeper, but I'm just forgetting my mom. I give her clean steamers, and don't you call anyone. I'll crash you into slumber. She can't please understand. Oh no, she can't. No need for boyfriend-free girls. I'm more full of jam. Imagine all the jerk forgetting Barbussy. say I'm a rapist. But I'm born into too late. Oh, God in the barrel cage. Take the lead, my mind's for say.
Oh, whoa. I really like that one. All right, we're gonna do one more alternate song. This is today. I just uploaded a new mini mage video. I recorded 2 sea shanties. One that's kind of a solo version that I intended to be in the video, and then Adobe Premiere Pro crashed and kind of locked me into a weird glitch. So I had to use the version that's in there that has multiple voices because it ate up a lot of the stuff I had worked on. And the solo would have made no sense.
How I long for the touch that was stolen from me. No satin caresses on my dick so tiny. And oh, those who laughed and then drove her from me are jealous of my love for mummy scrunchies. All the women who hated and turned me away will never know how I could churn their pussy. And so I retire with the one who loves me and spend all my days humping mummy scrunchies. For the ones who conspired to tear me down just because me knob's red like the nose of a clown, they'll never know love that's so pure and so free, tying off me nuts with mummy scrunchies. Yeah, I crank off to Germans 'cause they're me all night. Don't care what is normal, I know what feels right. For all those who bullied and kept trolling me, one day you will lose me like mummy scrunchies.
Alright, now before we start reading our mystery book by our mysterious author, I've got a little announcement to make, so let's pop the video up. Hopefully this works. Hey guys, it's your good old pal Empty Hero, and you might be familiar with some floppy old paperbacks I wrote. But now, thanks to capitalism and consumer horrorism, I've got these really nice hardbacks. You can read them. You can, my lord, you could bludgeon someone to death with these. Look, you even got a little, very sensual look at your good old pal Empty Hero as a little baby man. So I'm gonna do a real promotion for these in a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll do a live reading where you see more than just my very sensual hand. Ooh. But for now, that's all you get. I gotta... Okay, hopefully you guys could hear that, because when I play audio on OBS through a file like that, it never makes a sound. But if you couldn't hear it, basically I now have hardback editions of Europe 1 and 2. Couldn't get it for Split in 2 just because it's a novella, it's not long enough, but I do have something special in mind for that, but that's top secret. We'll talk about that when the time is right. Now, let's bring up today's special novella, YouTube Susan's Day of Retribution, written by Redacted, but let's just call them Jim Mr. Author. Okay, that's just an acronym to help you remember it. I'm not gonna pop the text up on screen because it's poorly formatted and it's really bright white, and I don't want to burn your guys' eyes out. So we're gonna keep this screen up with the fan art. And as always, guys, thanks so much for the fan art. I can, as you could tell from today's cartoon, I can't draw, so I really do enjoy getting these free little pictures. Now let's see. This person asked me for advice on how to publish on Amazon, and I gave them the format for how to do like a copyright disclaimer. And when I gave it to them, I put like here's the copyright disclaimer, and it says the right of your name here to be identified as the author of the work has been asserted. and they never took out the your name here. Fucking genius. And you're supposed to put like the date, and I put insert date here, and they never took that out. So technically, they don't have a copyright claim. This has I got to do a disclaimer. I have never read this. I've only seen like the first 5 pages. I wanted to save my reaction for live on stream, but my understanding is that at some point, the CEO of YouTube gets gunned down by Sam Hyde in this. I do not endorse this. I didn't write this shit. Okay, the guy sent me a copy, and then the next day he got raided by the FBI, and then he lost his copy. So this is the only time you could ever possibly read this, because I asked the guy if he wanted a file, and he said, no, I disavow, I don't want to be associated with it. So, the dedication is dedicated to all my amazing supporters and fans out there who really care, and who I really care. They forgot to put about. There's a lot of stuff like that, so I'm going to point it out when we do it. I'm not going to skip anything, but I will provide live commentary. And then it continues, the dedication says, you guys are the real shit, and then the N-word. This novel is purely a work of fiction. Any real-life personalities, events, situations, or places are just merely a coincidence. It is meant for satirical purposes only. Remember, as we go through this, it's satire. So here's the prologue. We're on page 2 of 47. It is a late afternoon at the Google office. I mean, maybe I have to do the Smedge McCain voice. People like that better. It is a late afternoon at the Google office. Susan was packing all her personal belongings from her office. Oh, and I will purposely mispronounce words that are misspelled. Rather than pointing out they're misspelled, I will convey the misspelling by pronouncing it wrong. Personal belongings from her office to go home one more time after a long day of work at Google as one of the managers. She couldn't manage to find her cell phone when all of a sudden a big-nosed, oh no, nearly balding man approached her from behind. Oh, maybe he grabs a couple of them Washkiki buttock cheeks, I don't know. Did I disturb you, Mrs. Washkiki? The hook-nosed executive asked Susan, slightly hesitant but mostly confidently. Yeah, Mr. Cohen, she has the same voice. I can't seem to find my phone, replied Susan. That does mean big business when you scare me. What? That does mean big business when you scare me when it's already getting dark. You moron. Pardon me, apologized Mr. Cohen. I think he's German, Mr. Cohen. Maybe I should give him a... I apologize for interrupting you in your holy quest for finding your phone, mein Führer. That's not even German. Let's go back to Jewish. But I don't think you need it right now. Why is that? Asked Susan, while holding a nearly ironic smirk. Okay, let's go with that. Don't you forget about something, sweetie? Mr. Cohen smirked back. The wink party. Susan was shocked. She didn't remember the quote-unquote a party from earlier, as she had realized she had something like that as do business. All right. Sure. Oh, yes, answered Susan. The party. Is it right now? Mr. Cohen nodded positively with his face. He nodded with his face? I wish I had my camera on. You just move your mouth up and down, but not your head. To confirm it, that it was do business. Yeah, fuck the phone. I don't give a single shit. Susan said as she dropped her search and grew some confidence. I'll follow you along. This way, Miss Washkiki, and he misspelled Washkiki, pointed Mr. Cohen. This is still the first page. Oh, I want to die. Can I get cancer right now and die, please? They walked across the Google HQ down into the basement floor. Down into the basement floor downstairs. Well, That's called a self-reflexive statement. Okay, sure. Nearly getting dark after Thuthum was just doing overtime on her office. The basement floor hallway had one single door at the end of it, and they arrived and it read, "Authorized personnel only," in big red letters with a big "STOP!" in all caps, sign underneath it. Whenever I see all caps, I'm going to do it loud, just to convey it's all caps. Kuyo System says either I finish the book or I finish Hamtaro. Ugh, I'll jump out of my fucking window before I play more of that Hamtaro game. Yuck. They knew this was big for the both of the two. Okay. As Mr. Cohen posed his hands on Susan's shoulder and took a deep breath, as it appeared to be a big deal for both. Mrs. Wajkicki told Mr. Cohen, not said, not implored, asked, inquired, whatever, in a gravely serious tone, what lies beyond this door and what's gonna have him behind it. I think he should be Christopher Walken, that'd be better. Will be the point of no return of your whole career. If you go in here, everything will be yours, but for a price that will never be told. You ready? Very well. And okay, now she's Christopher Walken too. Once I get stuck in that voice, I can't get out. Very well. Oh, it's still him. Responded Mr. Cohen. Then good fortune will be ahead of you behind this door. It'll be ahead of you behind the door. Okay, sure. Prepositional phrases lining up. Who needs them? They opened the door into the downward stairs, deep down into the darkness. An ominous chant could be getting closer as far down the both of the two were stepping. What? An ominous. When I get to a sentence that I'm so incredulous, I'm gonna have to do the guy from Gordon Cole, just to make you understand that I'm not fucking around. This is how it's written. An ominous chant could be getting closer as far down the both of the two were stepping down, and slowly they reached the bottom of the staircase into a dark place. This is all one sentence. With candlelight and a group of robbed zealots whose faces could not be seen by plain sight, but whose noses could stick out of the shades of their hoods. Yes, Gaseous, this is Mano's Hands of Shit. At the end of the ominous temple, there was an altar with the statue of a dark goat god with long pointy horns and an inverted pentagram between his legs. Below the statue could be found a very startled infant, crying out loud, as opposed to crying inwardly, but for the moment ignored. A second pentagram could be found in the middle of the room, painted in the ground with fresh period blood, and around it the robed cultists chant in a repeated mantra. Pestis cruento villamaxas prietiar cruento, which, as we all know, is Spanish for whale's vagina. Let's see. Susan advanced into the middle of the room after Mr. Cohen gave her a pat on the back. She slowly undressed her top clothes, revealing her floppy, aging, and saggy breasts. She was ready, and her face showed that determination. Mr. Cohen went next to the altar. Brothers, he exclaimed, we are gathered here to plead to Lord Baphomet, he who shall be named Moloch, the infinite power to our sister. Through the means of the sacrifice we offer to he, Lord Moloch, offer her your wisdom, offer her your strength, show her how to turn off downvotes so people stop harassing Stephen Colbert. I had that last line. Offer her your power in exchange for this offering. Mr. Cohen grabbed the dagger in the altar and held it high above the baby, ready for the sacrifice. Hail Moloch, hail Baphomet. By the way, Moloch and Baphomet are two different things. Hail Satan, he finally exclaimed as he was about to spill the blood of that innocent infant. The group of cultists then followed, screaming, "Hail Satan!" repeatedly before the baby was sacrificed to the dark god. Susan knew then there was no going back. That's the end of chapter 1. Now, I want to point out, when this guy gave me his book, I said, don't publish it. Let me look at it. I'll read it tomorrow after work, and I'll edit for you for free. And without crediting me, you can have an edited version that'll be much better. Because I thought it would be a funny joke to help this guy and make his book better. And he immediately tried to publish it the next day. So this is not my fault. I didn't write this shit. I tried to help. Guy didn't want help. Okay, that was the prologue. This is Act 1. We are on page 4 of 47. Dear God, end it now. Vermilion says the FBI raided his editor too. Why am I not allowed to say Jama? I can say Jama. It's just completely unrelated. I don't even know who wrote this. It's a mystery. I had a tumor grow in my head and I forgot who did it. And I don't want to be on the news when, a certain young lady kills herself and they go, look, this jerk was so mean to him. No, I'm nice. I'm the nice one. All right. Oh, sorry for... Let me swallow the schnot I just loudly snorted up. That's disgusting. Oh, my God. That was water, not the snot. Susan woke up at the sound of a smooth, soothing alarm of birds chirping with guitar music. She was alone in her own smart house. As far as she knew, her children were on their college residence already. She comfortably stretched on the side of her bed until a snap on her back twisted the woman. Excruciating temporary pain. That sentence makes no goddamn sense. Okay, sure. As Susan was getting herself... Oh, wow, you guys can't see it, but the font changes mid-sentence, and it's almost impossible to read. Let me change that. He's got, fucking weird... Okay, whatever. Whatever, I fixed it. As Susan was getting herself ready for another day of work... Oh, did I? No, I skipped a spot. Then the Google Home device on her home welcomed her on a Monday morning. Good morning, Susan. Today is September 20th, 2025. Monday. It is 8:05 a.m. Here is the news broadcast of the day. Have a wonderful day. As Susan was getting herself ready for another day of work by taking a hot steaming shower, dressing up in her usual fancy working clothes, and getting ready for breakfast, the news broadcast from CNN could be heard in the background in the entire house. Okay. I mean, there's a thing where you're like, I went down the stairs to get downstairs. Like, you really shouldn't say, in the background in the entire house. One kind of leads to the other, okay? Whatever. Oh, yes, that was the light bringer. Jamal, let me suck your futanari penis. I'll be your cock slut. Yes, I'll be the shit bringer. Put it all over your dick and I'll lick it. Oh, delicious. Okay, it's back to the, this is now the computer. Breaking news, the 8 a.m. mass shooting in the Isle of Wight. Oh, no. Had confirmed the shooter. The shooter is known as, you know what? I'm not going to say this name. Let's say the name is, the name of the shooter. I can't say the real name because I'll get a privacy complaint. The shooter from the Isle of Wight's name is Donald Shortbus. As he was dressing like a clown and had confirmed 34 casualties and injured 7. Oh, that's like 1 for each inch of height. The British shooter proceeded then to defecate on the ground and eat his own excrement before ending his own life before authorities came by. Okay, projecting much. What the fuck? That's right, Bruce. I'm my own original character, Blominick. Oh my God, I'm inexplicably inflating with shit. How embarrassing. Susan pulled out her crispy toast from the smart toaster and applied such massive amounts of peanut butter carefully with a butter knife between the two toast slices. What? That implies there should be more to that. Like, she put so much on it that... Like, there's a setup for a joke, but no punchline. Okay. The news broadcast on the smart TV went on. Should say, continued, but whatever. On the news today, the President of the United States, Jennifer McFarty Donkey. Guys, I think we're going to stop right here. What the... I don't get that. What, could someone explain to me the reference that the president is Jennifer McFarty Donkey? In her usual clown makeup and on a tall stool. Is she gonna eat shit too? Declared to the press that after cautious negotiation with the Prime Minister of Israel, she will donate $42 million to the state of Israel and the state of Mexico in order to pay the U.S. reparations? Okay, moving on. Thuthan nearly forgot. Now, the now is capitalized for no reason. Now that orange-faced Donald Trump isn't even the president of the United States. He wasn't even the president since 2020. The current president of the United States of America was a midget and clown makeup by the name of Jennifer McFarty Donkey after a landslide election victory in 2024. Remember, guys, this is satire. If you didn't understand what satire is, this is a really good study on it. We're still on page 4. Susan told herself after just realizing that there's a midget president. That's what she realized. As she took a bite into the peanut butter covered mess of toast, the news started reporting on the recent trends. There's a social media trend today that has serious legal consequences and is pranks involving a person defecating and urinating on the grocery store ice cream containers and eating the whole thing entirely. There's so much fucking projecting. I feel like I should be in my car with a date watching a black and white movie. Wow. Authorities are now watching over national grocery stores in alert for this dangerous trend. One suspect was already arrested for this type of product tampering and is sentenced to 5 years in prison and a fine of over $20,000. Susan packed her belongings in her purse, proceeded to exit the house, go outside the fence of her house where her car was parked, and lock the outside gate. The neighborhood was... Oh, I'm sorry for hitting that. The neighborhood was also filled to the brim with post-modernistic, baby white clean smart houses. Yeah, when you eat crap, you wipe your mouth with baby wipes. I guess you equivocate that with clean things. I don't know why I bring that up. Jama has nothing to do with this, and we love Jama. If that beautiful woman was here right now, I'd bring Fuzzhow in the room, and they could give each other a little kiss. Then I'd kick them both out immediately. Okay, she knew that this was where the rest of Silicon Valley executives lived, in a sunny, pretty, and overprotected neighborhood of San Bruno, California. Save for the Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, whose residence is in another spot of the country. Don't know why you felt the need to bring that up, okay. The neighborhood was surrounded by big pink flowered trees and a calm suburban ambient noise which contributed to the overall peaceful vibes that the place was made for. It was a district for rich people. Kuyo asked, do you think he jerked off pretending to be Susan Washkicki? Yes, I am Susan Washkicki. I am going to own myself by eating doo-doo. What? Ooh, I forgot I had that Amnesia stream thumbnail. I love the thumbnail, hate the fucking game. Yuck. All of a sudden, when Susan had ready her car keys... Oh, we're changing the tense mid-sentence. So it was when she, but then it becomes... She gets a visit from one of her neighbors, an innocent-looking man with an open, wide stare in his eyes, short hair and casually dressing in a merchandise t-shirt and jeans. Hi, Susan, he said. Wait, what was her voice? She was like a Jewish guy. Oh, hello, Mark. She greeted Susan. It was Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook. How are you doing here today? He's gotta be a robot, right? I'm doing fantastic, Susan. Like I say, nice job, team. Mark flickered his tongue in some sort of nervous tick of his. Did you see my posts from last Sunday? It's hard to go between these voices in real-time shit. Yes, I did. Nice barbecue. Susan smiled at Mark gleefully. Yeah, the baby briskets. Mark happily yet nervously replied, baby briskets, that sounds oddly familiar. Maybe instead of a brisket, maybe like a hot dog or something. Nah, I'm reading too much into it. This is all original ideas. Excuse me? The ribs. What do you mean? I personally call it spirited pepperoni. Mark concluded. You should probably try it. Spirited pepperoni? Not sure that is, but I can't wait to try it. Susan nearly did a half smile from the confusion, but was pretty enthusiastic to know what spirited pepperoni means on Mark's barbecue. So, Susan, is she our protagonist? It's setting her up like she's gonna be, but from what I've heard, she dies like halfway through. You know, spoiler alerts. Sorry, guys, I'm not sure. Oh, Zidane says it sounds more like Skeletor. Listen here, Susan. You're gonna take your shirt off, and I'm gonna ejaculate on it, and then a big dyke will take over your sword, and you won't even be in your own show. Ha ha! Hey, that sounded nothing like Skeletor. That was terrible. I'm sorry. I forget what he sounds like. Yeah, He-Man. Okay, that's it. You get the idea. Yeah, it's some sort of grilled pepperoni. It tastes like greatly salty. Oh, maybe he's doing like a Valley Girl thing. It tastes like greatly salty. It adds tons of flavors into the pepperoni. Like, he's doing a Valley Girl thing. Like a spirit on the meat. Just gag me with a spoon. Oh my G. Yuck. Susan opened her car door and waved at Mark with a smile. Okay, I have to go now. Have a nice day. You too. Greeted back at Susan. Oh, you know, you really should have let me edit this for you. Maybe I couldn't have made it a #1 seller, because I can't even make my own #1 sellers. But I did at one point. I did at one point get 11 and 12 top best-selling comedy books on Amazon, and that cocksucker Al Franken, he batch released like 12 books. And no, he batch released like 7, and I would have been top 10 if not for that. If that cocksucker, it was right after he groped some lady's boob. I think I have a screenshot of it. Let me bring that up. That motherfucker Al Franken, he groped some woman's boob, and so people downloaded all of his books, and he took advantage of it, and he batch released it. Let me see, do I have that? Is it in my books promo? Yes, I have it. That cocksucker. Let's pop that up. Let's go here, and the big screen. Look at that. So, here's 1 and 2. Oh, maybe I'm full of shit. Okay, he had 2. He put out 2 after he grabbed a titty, and they pushed me out of top 10. And look, if I got into top 10, that's front page of Amazon. That's big fucking money. I'm still salty about it, that fucker. Okay, whatever. Let's go back here. Let's close that. Actually, let's take off the big screen first so I don't accidentally start up and I've got weird porn up on the screen. We don't want that. Al Franken is a name. He used to be funny for a little bit. Oh, wait, let me bring up one more thing. So, while I've got this and I've got the folder open, I got Derek's money at cocksucker. If you see Derek, tell him, hey, Empty Hero has your money, bitch. Oh, I should mention a couple of things since we're talking about books. If you guys hate Amazon and you want my ebooks, they're on spring.com. They're totally, I don't think there's any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It is copyright protection, but I'm looking for the word. Yeah, well, you know what I'm talking about. There's none of that shit. And if you're not using ad block, there's like a thumbnail under every one of my videos. Oh, DRM. Thank you, Keith. DRM. There's no DRM. The thing is that just everybody uses ad block, so nobody fucking sees it. When I first got it, I was like, oh man, I get thousands of views a day. Sometimes. And, wow, that'd be great. And then it's like, oh wait, no, everybody blocks it, they don't see it. Whatever. Oh, and my next novel, Curse of Ilsons, is going to come out. I'm going to do one more video, then I'm going to take a break from videos and finish that. I'll probably do the Resident Evil 3 video next, and I'll have Curse of Ilson done. Probably not by Thanksgiving, but definitely well before Christmas. Okay, anyway, back to this. You know, I always think about when I do plugs in the middle of streams, like, how many people are going to get to the 30-minute mark of the replay of this to actually get to that plug? I assume they tap out after the first 10 minutes if they didn't catch it live, because this is definitely oof material. I just want to check one more thing. Give me 1 second. All right, back to the grind. We are on page... we're only on page 5. Fuck. All right, we got to where they're saying goodbye, and Mark said, "You too. Enjoy your meal. You too," to the waitress. Thuthan started the engine and drove away from the neighborhood down the street. For posterity, we're on page 5 of YouTube, Susan's Day of Retribution. What are you talking about? That's what we're reading. You think I'm making this shit up on the spot? Ugh. Thuthan started the engine and drove away from the neighborhood down the street. This particular district of San Bruno felt very joyful outside of the car, with passing children in bicycles. Wow, the children are inside of the bicycles. They must be small. And strolling civilians on every corner. She saw Jack Conti, the CEO of Patreon, passing by and waving at Thuthan outside of the car, which she waved back, gleefully smiling. Everything outside of the car seemed happy and joyful as she drove down from the rich neighborhood into, finally, the YouTube HQ. Oh, page 5 of 47 pages. But it's very dense. When I got this novel, this individual formatted it for a book that's like 3 by 4 inches. And nah, I ain't playing that shit, so I reformatted it. If this was a novel, it would be a novella. It'd be about as long as my own novella Split in Two, which you should totally go buy. Her workplace at YouTube HQ was a giant glass block, looking as clean as a pristine hospital toilet. Okay. Its calm yet professional-looking presence greeted Susan with the total confidence that she was going to conquer this day. She knew no amount of trouble was going to ruin her day at her office. She parked the car in her reserved spot for the CEO of YouTube and got out. Suddenly, a speeding car passed by recklessly. Oh, and by and recklessly are one word for some reason. And nearly barely touched Susan's fingers, and she nearly had a stroke. I wish you could fucking grab my pecker and nearly have a stroke. You know what I'm talking about, guys? Hey! She looked strange at the speeding past car. She looked strange at the speeding past car, comma, a black-colored Chrysler from the 1970s with a weird windmill-looking symbol in the porch. The porch of the Chrysler. Yeah, she could barely see it from the distance, but she moved on, bummed about it. She approached the gate, entered the YouTube HQ, and greeted everyone there with a smile. I gotta point out, there's a lot of, like, paragraph breaks where there shouldn't be. Like, you should break your paragraphs with the, Oh, you're right, Kuyo. It's in the porch. How could I not see that? You break your paragraphs with dialogue, or if you're changing scenes, you really shouldn't just hit enter every third sentence. It's just weird. I guess maybe to pad out the page count. I mean, sometimes we increase the size of our period. Sometimes you do 1.1 spacing. We've all been there, done that. Whatever. One employee in particular, a man in casual clothing, blue-dyed hair, and a big patch of blue-dyed beard, greeted her while drinking one particular chocolate milkshake. Well, thanks for specifying. It could have been any chocolate milkshake, but it's a very particular one, and I am very relieved. Good God. Wait, so, okay, this is Susan talking. Hi, Devin. How's it going? Is that the new cocoa dung that you guys were talking about? Asked Susan. The chocolate milkshake in particular was a small plastic blue bottle with an elephant drinking from a straw through its trunk on its logo.
Yes,
replied Devin.
It's really good. You want to try it?
I'll give it a taste, thank you. Susan grabbed the bottle and took a light sip from the drink. Her face started wincing in utter disgust as soon as the chocolate milkshake gave her tongue a taste inside of her mouth. It gave me a smell inside of my nose. Oh my God! That painting gave me a sight inside of my eyeballs. The fuck? Why are you guys bringing up Jima? This is a book by Jim Ma, a Chinese fella. You're out of your mind. Where did I leave off?
What's wrong?
Asked Devin. Susan... Hey, which voice am I doing? Shit. Susan nearly hesitated to reply back to Devin as she gave the bottle back to him, smiling. It's all good. I'll see you later.
Okay, have a good one.
Derek greeted back. He's greeting her at the end of their conversation. Well, who's to judge? You greet when you want to. You can drink dog shit. What do I care? She then remembered and muttered to herself as subtly silently as possible, though Devin could not hear her. Cocoa dung. No wonder why it's made of elephant shit. That is just the drink for poor people. Yeah. As Susan was going through the YouTube HQ to her office, she overheard a small fragment of a conversation from two of her peers. Hey, did you hear Sai killed his manager and then killed himself? Must be that mind-blown job app. Susan didn't even notice it much and went straight to her office. A tidy, well-decorated office with a one-monitor desktop computer and a framed picture of little babies, not only of her own descent, but of also unknown, nearly naked children. Susan saw a pizza box on her desk with 2 slices of pepperoni pizza on it. On it... Okay. It's like poetry, it rhymes. The beginning's the same as the end. On it there was a note saying, that was a good night. Love to see you at the... Oh wait, I know this lady, the voice. That was a good night. Love to see you on the next party. They're very young. And signed by Mr. Podesta. She sat on her desk, stretching herself, cracked her fingers, and turned on the computer. She was ready for yet another dark day at YouTube. Chapter 2. This is page 7 of 47. Ugh. It feels like I'm reading this with my dick in its braille. Susan checked her email, flooded in her Gmail inbox with a lot of weird emails regarding death threats from multiple people. She felt weird. How was it possible that people knew her business Gmail address that was so unknown to the general public? Yet, in a certain confidence, she dismissed that and kept going with her duty. When, just then, one of her co-workers came just in. You can never, just is like cayenne pepper. You can never use just enough. It was a brunette woman with a certainly hooked eagle nose and a bowl-cut hair. She smiled to greet Susan, revealing She smiled to greet Thuthen, revealing gigantic mouth gums behind her teeth. My mouth gums, no. The fucking...
Mrs. Washkiki,
she told Thuthen,
I think you should see something that is of your concern.
Oh, Mrs. Ratzenberg. Thuthen answered, what is it? Mrs. Ratzenberg was showing her tablet. Am I going to upload it somewhere? No. No, this is world exclusive. Unless this guy wants to publish it again, he unpublished it. I would be a real dick distributing this. Except to certain parties who will not be named because they promise not to spread it out without permission. I wouldn't want someone doing it to me. I'm only reading this because I got very specific permission that I could do this, okay? Oh, shit. Wait, I'm going to have to edit this next part. Mrs. Rathenberg was showing her tablet screen to Thuthen, and in the screen there is a video of a man in a black military sweater with a bleached undercut and a ring lip piercing. The video was entitled, Jimothy Ma makes a death threat to Thuthen Washkiki. Wow! Really? That's the angle you want to take? Oh, okay. Sure. By the way, I did not write this shit. I'm just reading it for posterity. I didn't do this, you motherfuckers. I know this is getting reported at some point. I did not write this fucking shit. If Susan Washkiki was here in front of me, I'd give her a little smoocheroonie. Poke my eye out, leaning in for the kiss, but hey, that's part of the game. Alright, I don't know who this Jim Ma fellow is, but he seems dangerous. Thuthen pointed out.
This is one of the videos that suspended users from YouTube have leaked into YouTube from other video platforms.
Mrs. Ratzenberg coughed before adding,
even PewDiePie had his videos leaked on here through another user. It's probably some advanced level of ban evasion.
Oh, I have to say I love Israel and the Jews. Oh my God! I'm giving all my donations to the widows of Israel. First, I will widow them, and then I will give them the money. Two-part plan. It ain't even ban evasion if it's not the same user, added Thuthen. Are you sure these people are not the ones uploading them?
Yes, I am 100% sure,
concluded Mrs. Ratzenberg. The man? Oh, the man could be heard telling a bunch of nonsense on video. Well, at least we have a little bit of self-awareness. His tone of voice makes it sound like it's comedy, but none of the two were aware of what he was really saying, since his way of talking was really distracting. Oh, it's satire. I get it now. That makes sense.
Okay, I think you should probably...
Oh, wait. Wrong voice. Okay, I think you should probably suspend these accounts regardless. Thuthen nodded in agreement towards Mrs. Ratzenberg. Suddenly, a man with an Indian accent could be overheard greeting the both of the two. Okay. Hey, how do I do it?
Hey, Susan, how's it going?
Thuthen recognized the Indian man in the fancy suit. Mr. Sundar is such a pleasure. Thuthen shook hands with the Google CEO in a joyful glee. Any news so far?
Well, good news and bad news, Susan.
Sundar Pichai had a brief pause to try to remember how to make it comfortable.
Both of you both come from your partner HC from the Clinton Foundation. Which one do you want to hear first?
Surprise me, answered Susan. Surprise us all. Maybe the next paragraph will make sense. Hey, let me just... Okay, I did do something.
Okay, the bad news is...
Thundar had a brief pause again to make himself comfortable telling what he's about to tell.
We know all of these millions of suspended accounts at YouTube are not happy with our decisions, especially your decisions, which are very, very smart, by the way, and I agree with your decisions, and I feel like you're in the right to make these decisions.
Okay, Sundar, get to the chase already. I got stuff to do. Susan said as she rolled her eyes.
Okay, fine.
Thundar then continued. By the way, if you're having a conversation with just two people, if the first person says something and you hit enter, we know it's the next person talk. If you just hit enter between it, you don't have to keep saying they said, he said. It was amazing when I figured that out when I was 13. I became such a better writer. Okay.
It is very clear that these users are organizing something really negative towards your personal integrity, and we're not sure at what extent. But regardless, it might be that you're in serious danger.
I was looking at chat. Where was I? Thuthan was shocked and confused. Okay, then what are the good news?
Yes, Sundar continued. HC brought me that from the president herself. The good news is it's all under control. Military is doing their thing since it is an extreme case of state security. But they're doing the thing, well.
Well? Thuthan questioned.
Yeah.
You don't sound so convinced. Thuthan again questioned.
The thing is, Sundar interrupted Susan.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for the poop and the do not... Everybody else has been eating their own shit. Why is the Indian guy not pooping on the floor? What the fuck? It's the one time that would have made sense, you fucker.
Please do the needful. Good morning, my friend. Do not redeem the shitty book. Do not redeem it. You need to stay calm because you are completely having all sorts of backup here. Just to make sure you don't say anything stupid.
In this novel... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we can avoid that.
Please see what HC needs you to do.
Okay, I'll talk with Hillary later then.
Nice. Sundar clapped his hands in relief. I'll have to go. I'll keep you up to date.
I assume he's not talking about the thing on the calendar, but rather the things his people eat with monkey brains. Delicious. little light racism out of nowhere. Thundar then went out the door in a light rush. A light rush. I was slowly sprinting. Sure. Oh, hey, I should mention I see the Stream Elements thing is popping up. I figured out how to give people points on Stream Elements. So if you open up a window in Twitch and you get at least 5 minutes, you'll get 1 point. And then after the stream, the people with 1 point will be on my soundboard, and I can give you guys points for the new soundboard. You can still use the old one. The old Streamlabs soundboard still works. You just can't accumulate new points. So once they're gone, they're gone. It's a weird thing. I didn't cause it. I'm still trying to work around it. All right, where did I leave off? This is the sound my brain makes as I'm actually reading this. Oh yeah, the light rush. And as he got out the door, Mrs. Ratzenberg contacted Susan once more.
Regarding other things, these videos of pooping, and peeing on grocery store ice cream. What do?
Susan pondered briefly on it. Yeah, keep them up. It was upsetting. And one more time, just in case, what about Stephen Cole
Stephanie Colbert.
Yes, Stephanie Colbert. Oh, I should mention the sound effects now play a little GIF. So that's what you just saw, the little Ed, Ed, and Eddie. Susan decided quickly, keep them up and boost her subscribers way up.
Alright, that's all I need to know. Thanks, Susan.
God damn it. Miss Ratzenberg left the place only to give in. Mrs. Ratzenberg left the place only to give in through the office some cone-headed black man with a bow tie and a pink office shirt. What? Susan sighed. Okay, Cletus, what do you want?
Is it the pie doll?
Cletus was clearly a retarded person. Oh, he's a lisp. With a gigantic lisp. Wait, is that supposed to be me? Is Empty Hero the Cletus? What the fuck? Does he think I have a pinhead? No, Cletus. Susan slammed her desk, infuriated and annoyed. It is not payday yet, you brainless buffon. Go back to work. Cletus left. Oh, we have stage directions. Nice. This is actually a play. Oh, Wooten, if you were using that, it would be exclamation redeem, exclamation bonk. Okay? You gotta put the exclamations in. The new thing with Stream Elements is okay. You can, like, just click on the things. I think you could do that with the old one, too, but the old one was a little clunky. I guess you can still use the old one. It's up. You just can't accumulate points. It's... Whatever, I'm getting distracted. We're on page 8 of 47. We're never going to finish this shit if I keep getting distracted. Susan exhaled in relief now that this oblivious, exceptional individual had left the office. Okay, we got some Kiwi Farms lingo. Nice. She kept going with her work as per usual, doing some administrative financial reports for the morning. Then her Skype started ringing on her PC, and Susan answered the call. It was President McFarty Donkey. Oh, great. I got to come up with a voice for President McFarty Donkey. Okay, the first thing that McFarty Donkey says is, howdy up, Susan. So I'm thinking Sandy Cheeks. Howdy up, Susan! McFarty Donkey honked in her clown voice twice. Oh, she's a clown. Okay, I'll do a Western clown.
You hear from Mr. Peach-Eye down there?
Yeah, what, the eating under there?
Underwear!
You eating underwear. That should have been the joke. Whatever. Yeah, Susan replied through the headset microphone. It sure is a big deal. What's going on there?
Yeah, we got a wacko of a civil unrest in the whole states of America, you know. What I'm saying? They must really be pissed off at you and the rest of your partners down there.
Why is the clown a country clown? Oh, this is how Jim Ma thinks Americans talk.
But it's all under control. I told my girl Hillary to tell your investors that the U.S.A. military is upon good old duty
on the entire nation. Then how is San Bruno safe so far?
Because everything is under control, silly. These other clowns from the alt-right are getting a taste of their own medicine by getting themselves turned into Swiss cheese by good old lead.
McFarty Donkey giggled like a toddler before a bucket of lard was dumped over her head. What, you can't say that on TV? The fuck?
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I got some business to do. See ya.
LOL, so random. I hold up my spork. I am the Penguin of Doom. The fuck? Mrs. Wajkiki. Devin, wait, what was Devin's voice?
Mrs. Wajkiki, Devin asked, there's a bit of a problem in the office.
What's wrong? Asked Susan.
Cletus has watched yet another of those alt-right videos again, and he's going bananas, spewing Nazi shit.
Oh, dear Yahweh. Susan exhaustedly exasperated while standing up from her desk to follow Devon along the office to where Cletus was. Everyone was looking at Cletus unsurprisingly annoyed. Cletus was literally shaking in his own desk, jumping on his office chair, slamming his table over and over again while screaming,
"Fucking 88 fucking shills!
Keycase, shills, whatever. YouTube works for Thoros."
And along the way,
Cletus was spewing other kinds of nonsensical statements. Everyone would assume anything Cletus watches. Everyone would assume anything Cletus watches that he has to watch over, has to turn his optics, since he has no judgment. What? Susan approached the clearly exceptional black cone-headed man. "Calm down, Cletus, for fuck's sake. You know what to do with these videos, right?"
"But the Zilly, the Jews, they control everything. They've got my payday."
For some reason, I'm turning Cletus into Roger Rabbit. Fucking Christ. "Your payday will arrive at the end of the month, Cletus." Susan tried to calm down the irrational Mongolianoid. "But you know what to do with these videos, right? You click the button and then put a strike. Okay." Oh, Cletus is a YouTube mod. Okay, this is good now. I like this. 10 out of 10. The joke makes sense. You should have mentioned earlier that he was a mod, you fuck. What are you doing? Yes, that's right, Tim. Have anyone really been even as decided as far to want to do to go to look more like? Have you ever had a dream where you wanted to do what you wanted to do so much you could do whatever you want? Shut the fuck up. Good Cletus, just calm down. Susan finally succeeded soothing the cone-headed beast, and everybody went to their regular day of work. She went back to her office to make some more accounting when she pondered at the window of her office for a minute. She took a brief break from her computer screen to contemplate the vegetation outside of the YouTube HQ. There was some nice palm trees outside of the big solid glass window that took place of the entire section of the walls of the office. It was like a whole wall absent to let through a sight of peaceful aesthetic pleasantness with the nice garden at her workplace. But then Susan saw something. A man outside in suspenders, completely bald, with a t-shirt that read "Internet Sensation," was outside. Wait, so the beginning of the sentence is "a man outside," and the end is that he was outside. Gotta make sure you know he's outside, shit. His face looked like the one a person in special needs education would look like. 'Cause I'm writing about the man in the mirror. Sort of as if his tongue was longer than usual, and his jaw had to compensate. He was sticking on palm trees and lamp posts. Some posters in nearly full white, some on others with full displays of European white men. She couldn't read what those posters said in the distance. It was too far to be clear, but then the strange man in suspenders ran away as fast as if he had committed murder, and he was the black man. Wait, let's reread that last clause. But then the strange man in suspenders ran away as fast as if he had just committed a murder, and he was the black man. Oh, I just went to scratch my nuts, and there's a hole in my sweatpants. Damn. I love these sweatpants. Oh, no, now these are pajamas only. I only wear sweatpants on my days off, because if I wear them outside, it's like, okay, guys, here's my dick. Even with, like, nice, tidy whities. Nope, there's the dick. There's no getting away from it. Like, I would be fired if I wore these to work. Damn. Maybe I'll visit my grandmama, and she can sew together. I guess my dick's too big. It popped a hole. I'll let my grandma fix my dick hole. That's not weird, right? You can say that. Mrs. Wait, I skipped a couple things. Mrs. Rathenberg approached Thuthen one moment to join her in the fight outside.
Wasn't that some ex-YouTuber called I'm Alex?
I don't remember each and every one of these YouTubers like they were my son's collection of Funko Pops, Mrs. Rathenberg. Thuthen answered, but I'm pretty sure he was already suspended then. We already suspended then from YouTube because of that. Mrs. Rathenberg looked back at YouTube.
Do you want me to call security, Mrs. Washkicky?
Sure, confirmed Susan. Mrs. Ratzenberg left the office to leave. She left to leave Susan to keep working on her accountings. Plural. Susan kept doing her work as usual. For about several hours of work schedule, nothing much of importance happened, as she was still doing her business for the rest of the shift. Yes, as I was eating my dinner, nothing much of importance happened. As I was eating the dinner that I was eating my dinner. Delicious. Chapter 3, page 11 of 47. My Lanta. My life, my love, my hopes, my dreams, my Lanta. Thuthen finished her work shift and started gathering her belongings. As soon as she left her office, she overheard a conversation from two of her male co-workers. One of them was sporting a beanie and had piercings up to the brim, and the other was morbidly obese and had a pink wig on his head. She stopped a moment to have a listen. And this is almost certainly going to plagiarize a scene that I wrote in a book. I can feel it in my bones. Before I even get there, I know this is plagiarization.
What the hell is an HF ham radio?
The piercing-riddled employee asked,
It's the kind of old communication device. That thing is as old as the 40s.
The fat co-worker in a wig responded,
Are you saying the alt-right uses these devices to communicate with each other?
Oh, somebody deleted their message. Why? Whatever. Wait, I have, well, I was doing Schmorky, and Camp Gay.
Yes, they think somehow they won't get caught up by social media censorship by using old ham radios. The whole thing is a mess to set up, and it is way bigger than a closet, but they're making good use of it.
Think about it. They're becoming like old-fashioned Nazis in here, literally and figuratively.
I don't know what's the correlation between Nazis and ham radios. Anyone could use a ham radio.
Look, if ham radios are vintage and Nazis are vintage, then ham radios must be for Nazis.
Okay, here's the joke you should have made. Jews can't have ham, therefore ham radios are anti-Semitic. You saw the joke, you drove right up to it, and then you turned left and you went as far away from it as humanly possible. For shame! For shame! Mystery author.
Oh, well, you figured, Mr. Sherlock. Next thing you know, using gramophones makes you literally Hitler.
Damn it, I can't do that. These are hard voices to switch between.
Exactly.
I was being sarcastic, for fuck's sake.
Oh, thank God. That was not plagiarized for me. That is nothing like what I would have made. Thuthen had enough listening and left the two when a man with a dog's head and a human body came to Thuthen in precisely the head of a German shepherd. It startled Susan until she realized who it was. Oh, snap. Hey, Robinson, glad to see you here, greeted Susan. Is that the new look you were talking about?
Oh, yes, Susan, sweetie.
Oh, Robinson replied in his usual effeminate voice. How do I do a gay Scooby-Doo? The fuck? Gay Scooby-Doo.
With my ass, Reggie, I'm a homosexual.
I'm not even going to try it in an effeminate voice.
Now it's incredible that I am the papa now. Woof. Woo. You had a nice day at work today, my dear.
Yes, I hope you had it too. It's nice to have such diversity in our team. How did you manage to do it? Robinson hesitated before telling his whole story of his whole bodily improvement. That's right, bro.
I think more Scooby-Doo.
Scooby, like, would you let me clap them cheeks?
No.
Like, would you do it for 3 estrogen tablets? Let me at him! Let me tear that ass up! Pooper power? Is that what he would do? Oh, I bailed out on my own premise. That was a bad joke. Where'd I leave off? Robinson told Susan,
I read this racist Mexican doctor who saw I was a good boy in the furry fandom, and he said he could exchange my pet dog Lassie's head for mine.
Lassie was a golden... Lassie... What was Lassie? A collie. Lassie was a border collie, you fuck. You said it was a German shepherd. You should have went with Rin Tin Tin, you malaprism-making motherfucker. Whatever.
So I could become the papa. Oh, then he chopped off both of our heads in surgery, but kept my brains inside this head and her brain inside the other head, and it was fabulous. You know, I bet if this character was in a haunted house, he would like eat a sandwich and fall through all the floors.
Susan half smiled, trying to hide her disgust, but ended up complimenting Robinson. Well, it's great that now you are what you feel you are, Robinson. Well, I guess I must be shit, because this is making me feel like shit. I hope no one comes and takes a bite out of me. Christ. I'll see you tomorrow.
Fabulous,
Robinson giggled and waved Susan.
I'll have tomorrow some pizza to celebrate, if you know what I mean.
Robinson chuckled.
See you later.
Oh, I guess for him he'll have some puppies. Oh, maybe there will be a Scrappy-Doo reference. If there is, that'll redeem everything. Susan left the YouTube HQ through the gate, but on the way to her car, she noticed something. One of those posters was hung up on the lamppost near the HQ gates. The ones which that YouTuber in suspenders left and ran away. She decided to take a peek into it, and she got closer to have a look. She read the sign, "It's okay to be white," written on pure white paper with plain black sans serif letters. She then pulled it from the lamppost gently to take a close examination to it. There was not much else to do to it other than the caption that said it's okay to be white. On it, just a plain white paper with nothing behind it. Please don't pull a kianka because I don't know what that means, Bruce. I don't know what a kianka is. Sorry. I assume that's a guy who fucked a dog. As for one time, Susan felt a bit concerned. So do I, author, so do I. It was a weird sensation that she was not completely safe. She knew even the military had her back. But how? Is it that, aside from the security guards in YouTube HQ, there is no sign of any defenses on her neighborhood? She didn't believe Hillary nor McFarty Donkey were lying to her. But that man in suspenders somehow got around a rich man's neighborhood all by himself, placing posters like that when, in fact, he could be detained for such a hate crime. Oh, it was low tax. Okay. I don't know that stuff, man. Come on. But she persevered. She didn't mind it. She so moved on knowing that she was still safe. Save for a couple people placing hateful posters on the streets of San Bruno. She didn't worry. They didn't pose a serious threat, other than being annoying brats placing disgusting, terrible, hateful posters on the streets who could totally not pose any harm. Besides, security guards could take care of that easily, and she knew. She got in her car and drove down the street back home, as opposed to driving on the moon back home. Come on. Certain clauses are not necessary because they're reflexive, you fuck. Hey, I am walking on the ground. I went to the ocean and I jumped into the water of the ocean and swam in the wet water. Come on. Fuck. She got in her car and drove down the streets back home. On her car's driveway home, on her drive space way home, she also noticed the same posters were placed all over the streets, over lampposts and street signs. Signs that read, "It's okay to be white, Islam is right about women, and Susan Washkiki must die." And by the way, I did not write this shit, I'm just reading it. I don't agree with any of it, I'm just reading it. Don't fucking ban me. Could be seen on all sides, but the same way Susan wasn't so scared of the first poster she saw, she didn't fret over the rest. She kept driving, convinced that she was still safe with the whole backup she's got. She arrived at her home, stopped the car at the gate, and then got out. She arrived at the gate when suddenly she felt she stepped on something sticky and sticky. She stepped on a piece of shit. And a man jumped out and said, "Hey, I was going to eat that." Yes, Daisha, I ripped off this for the Europe novels. YouTube, actually, I should, let's change this. Because people are going to keep asking me, what the hell are you reading? Let me change the text. Let's go up, fuck, where is it? Okay, reading, and we'll change what this says. Never mind what I almost typed. That was just my hand twitched. The author is Jim Ma. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just some Chinese guy named Jim. Okay, I stopped where she stepped on poop. That moment, Susan felt like a complete bummer. She didn't believe that she had soiled her fancy shoes with such a piece of messy manure. Then Zuckerberg found her outside of her house when he was doing some barbecue outside and peeked out. "Hey, Susan," told Mark Zuckerberg. "Some people say stepping on dog poop gives you good luck." "Really cool of you, Mark," Susan said sarcastically, as she didn't even believe what Zuckerberg had to say about it. "Now that you're at it, I saw a bearded man in suspenders let his dog leave that," Mark pointed out. I think he did that on purpose." "Seems like it, I guess. It's time for a nasty cleanup." A one-eyed idiot with a mohawk then jumped out of the bushes and pushed her over and licked her shoe. I made that last part up. As Susan got back in her house, she peeked on her Google Pixel phone to check out social media for a bit, and as soon as she was checking her Twitter feed, she had an epiphany. She checked on the accounts of YouTubers she had banned, which is all of them save for the mainstream media corporate entities and mainstream celebrities. So she checked her YouTube followers. I'm not trying to be mean to this Jim guy, but like this is so poorly edited. It's making me angry. She checked one of them. The first one was called Elvis the Alien. Oh shit, the guy from Perfect Dark. How did Elvis talk?
He talked like this, Joanna. Joanna, you must save me so I can probe your pussy with that gun that lets you see through walls.
What? No, that's not how he sounded. I forget how Elvis sounded. And there may be 3 people who even know what that fucking reference is. And she checked another one. This one is from PewDiePie. Again, nothing there for 2 years. This one was even weirder. Before he was suspended on YouTube for hate speech, he was the second most subscribed channel on YouTube, and she thought of the implications that meant. But then she thought to herself, okay, I don't mind. I don't think that this is important. I'm good on this. As she prepared dinner for herself, she said, okay, Google, turn on TV. To turn on the TV. The news weren't so much different while she was preparing her own dinner of pre-cooked beef with salad dressing. Ew. What? So, like, dried beef? I gotta take... This is making me sweaty. This is so bad I'm sweating. Let me take my shirt off. I gotta free the nips. Well, Vermilion Mage says this was written in 1 hour with no outline. You know, let's get to the end. So far, we have one protagonist. We're sticking with it. Maybe there's a beginning and a middle and the end. Okay? Let's find out. I know this is a rough one. I'm sure there'll be 3 people left by the end of this, and I'll be 2 of them. Yet another hour, and another mass shooting. This time, the news broadcasted mentioning it was a transracial African-American named Jordy Jordan, publicly known online as Wings of Redemption. He must have been throwing controllers at their head. He had undergone transracial surgery to turn himself from being white to being black, way before he committed a homicide, which would end the life of 11 people and injure 2 more before he ended his own life in a puddle of his own tears, with a shot to his own head from his AR-15. The past hour shooting has been reminded. Oh, thanks. Yes, I am breathtaking while I'm pulling out my nips. Hey, if I get $3,000 super chats, I'll turn on my webcam. You guys can see my nips. And for 4,000, I will track down Fuzz and I will brutally beat him to death. With a tire iron. Just kidding. I do that for free. The past hourly shooting hath been reminded, and that time it was confirmed to be a Muslim man who was shot dead 3 people because he lost an esports match on Clash Royale. And the prior one before that was a Jewish woman who just went postal because of losing child custody. I'm not sure about these references. Maybe you guys can figure out who he's talking about. Then, or she, he or she, you know, who's to say? This is an anonymously written book. This just is Silicon Valley CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, threw himself off of the top of the Twitter, HQ building committing suicide. Well, I'm glad you clarified that throwing yourself out of a window is committing suicide. Oh, you can't follow the story? It's so simple. There's Susan Washkicki is in a room. They chop a baby in half. She goes to work. I Am Alex puts a poster up outside her door. She steps in poop. And now all the YouTubers she banned are shooting people. I know it is satire. Look, guys, it's satire and it's subtle. All right? If you aren't smart enough to vote for Hillary, you might not be smart enough for the satirical novel by Jim Ma. The past hourly shooting has been reminded. Okay, we did that. Then completely different news came on the TV as soon as Susan was feasting on her beef. Yeah. That's a clause that makes sense. This just in, Silicon Valley CEO of Twitter. Oh, I did that. Authorities believe it might have ties with the new mind-blown job mobile app for which thousands of high-profile celebrities have implanted their own brain chips for app users to get advantage of. Wait, isn't that from a movie? I'm almost certain that there is a movie where people, like, they watch a commercial, or it's the thing with the day of the rope, maybe. That's stolen. That is stolen from something. Maybe I'm thinking of Halloween 3 with 3 more days till Halloween, Silver Shamrock. I'm going to figure this out before we're done. Maybe you guys can figure it out before me, but the Mind Blown Job app, it's got to be stolen. Susan knew she shouldn't have put that chip on, as she... Oh, wait. The Mind Blown mobile app, for which thousands of high-profile celebrities have implanted their own brain chips for app users to get advantage of. Susan knew she shouldn't have put that chip on, as she truly didn't. She knew it started innocent enough for users doing pranks on stars like Jim Carrey or Jack Black, do silly things like pulling their pants off or throwing their own poo to a Starbucks barista. Here, bitch, keep the change.
I don't need your disgusting coffee. I make my own hot brown liquid. Oh, so good.
But then things got dark as users started using the app to make celebrities kill themselves in multitudes of ways. Oh, I'm thinking of Being John Malkovich. That's what it is. So the Mind Blown Job app is you get to be in their body, make them do things. Totally, let's just say inspired by Being John Malkovich. If you don't know, that's a movie where there's a door in an office building that if you crawl through it, you come out in John Malkovich's body, and you can make him do weird things. And eventually a guy goes in it, comes out as John Malkovich, and then goes back into it while he's still John Malkovich. And then it makes every person in the world the actor John Malkovich. It's a really weird movie, and I do love it, but I haven't seen it in 20 years, so if it sucks, I was like 12 when I saw it. Don't fucking blame me for recommending you a shit movie. Alright, same. I love Fern Gully as a kid. It's probably not good, but whatever. Where we leave off. She remembered that Harvey Weinstein was mind-controlled to drink bleach and die choking on his own vomit, or when Jake Paul nearly got a coma when he was brainwashed into smashing his own head. Until he had brain hemorrhage and fainted. He's still nearly the same with severe brain damage anyways. She knows she chose wisely to not implant the chip on her brain. And then she finished dinner and went to sleep early for another day at the office tomorrow. She didn't think too much about all these dark situations. And she had a smooth... All these dark situations and crash into slumber. Just curl up with mommy. The next day, Susan woke up to the sound of the alarm, showered, dressed up for work, took breakfast, and drove out to YouTube HQ. This time, she got a call from Hillary Clinton. On her drive to work, she activated the hands-free call. Hi, Hillary, greeted Susan on the call.
Hi, Susan.
Hillary greeted back.
I've got some news for you that I confirmed to Madam President.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
Everything is all safe and sound. No sign of these alt-right protesters anywhere. They even look invisible to the naked eye.
That's great, Susan pointed. By the way, why would she point on the phone? By the way, did you notice they didn't They didn't most much on social... I guess it's supposed to be post. Much on social media.
Yeah. It's like they're completely gone. I guess it's time we can say goodbye to those Trump voters once and for all. 'Cause the cream rises to the top.
Yes, that's Macho Man.
I started off doing the Hillary voice.
But the Hillary voice fucking hurts. So I'm going to do the Macho Man voice. It's a little easier on the old throat. Yes, it's like they're completely gone. Wait. I'm on the wrong spot. That's really good. I'm glad that I got rid of every single one of them on my platform. That definitely showed them who's the queen.
Super. Hillary then satisfyingly exhaled. I'll see you later. Then hope you have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Hillary. They then hung up on the call. Who then arrived at the YouTube HQ to be greeted by Mrs. Ratzenberg on the office.
"Ah, Susan."
Mrs. Ratzenberg then pointed the tablet to a mind-blown job app ad.
"We got a little bit of trouble with this one. You might have heard of it."
Susan thought at first glance, yeah, that one I know personally. What about it?
"The news is all over this one. Last one had Lena Dunham kill herself in the bath tube, and now media outlets are constantly barking at us for advertising the app. Should we do something?"
Hey, how did Lena Dunham die in the bathtub? What, you get stuck in it, that fat cunt? Just pull the ads. It's all right, Susan answered. They're not big bidders anyway. Ah, those fucking bidders. Get out of my neighborhood. Those bidding. Playing your bidders music in the middle of the night. Fucking stop it.
Right, Susan?
Greeted Robinson.
I got this one guy, okay? He did the ice cream poop prank and he got arrested. What do?
And then T_capital T. Terminated account, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Pointed Susan to Robinson.
Right through.
Then Robinson went back to his place. You know, the only time I've ever heard a woo in real life was 2 years ago before COVID shut down my community pool. And I'm like, you know, I'm in my mid-30s, you know, but I'm like buff dad bod and not fat at all. And there were these like 3 teenage girls, fat pink hair girls and like one camp gay black guy. And the girls were like, "Oh my god, check out the bulgy welgy." And the gay guy was like, "Ew." And I had sunglasses on and I pretended not to understand a word of it. As I ain't going to jail for the teenage girls. And I'm almost getting low enough for the fat gay black kid, but not really. Give it another year. Oh my god, these fucking shutdowns. Oh, the date's going great. You want to come back to my place? Are you vaccinated? Yeah. Can you show me your card? Yeah, it's just right here in this rag. Sniff it, bitch. Head on the floor. Then Devin came with Cletus to her office. Cletus was jumping all around in excitement and giggling like a complete buffoon the moment he got inside the office. They had something to show off. Oh, Cletus's preferred pronouns are they and them. Nice.
"Susan."
Hey, what was Devin's voice? This is Devin.
"Susan, Cletus wants to show off a new tablet that he has achieved today."
Oh, really? Susan smiled in admiration. What is it, Cletus? Cletus hesitated for a slight bit of time before he had to tell his special ability.
"Come on, tell her, Cletus,"
Devin insisted. Then Cletus braved himself.
"Me fart now sound like this."
He spread his legs to let a fart that sounded like somebody saying, "Baba Booey." Why Baba Booey? Wait, let me bring up. I made this for my Star Wars video. I have, it's the Star Wars theme song, but it's Baba Booey. And I've only ever used it for that. I gotta make another Star Wars video. I would do stuff with the movies, but those cocksuckers are so tight on who's allowed to use clips. If you're not Red Letter Media, you're not allowed to do it. But let's pop that up. And just for the record, fuck Howard Stern. He hasn't been funny in 10 years, that cocksucker. I hope he trips on the stairs and his fucking wig falls off and he gets hot bacon grease all over his ass and nipples. Alright, so he farted and said Baba Booey. Susan sniffed very deeply and noticed the stench of such flatulence, as well as Devin, and both ended up completely disgusted by the smell. Why would you do it? What did you think was going to happen, Susan? What the fuck? Yeah, Jesus Christ, Susan argued. Smells like you dropped the whole 30 canisters of Cyclone B in here. Okay, Cletus, go to the toilet.
Okay.
Cletus slowly fled the office, while Devin had another thing to ask Susan. This happens a lot. Slowly and fled are contradictory. If you flee, you're doing it quickly. Nobody slowly flees. You could say he crept. You could say slowly crept, but crept is slowly. Or you can say he fled. They're contradictory terms, you motherfucker. Susan, Devin asked, why are there no security guards on the offices? Well, Susan replied, I thought we were pretty much safe around here. How so? I was communicated that everything was under control. There are no recent incidents of hate crimes around the area. Are you sure about that? What if something happens by surprise, though? Nothing will happen. Are you really sure? Yes. Are you really sure? Susan started to get annoyingly upset. Well, she's so upset it's annoying everybody else. I swear by the holy writings of the Torah, I am. Just shut the fuck up, okay? Again, this is satire. It's really subtle stuff. Not sure. Maybe you gotta turn the volume up so you guys can get these subtle jokes. Okay, fine. I'll see you later. Devin then left the office, but Susan got visited by Mrs. Ratzenberg urgently.
Susan told Mrs. Ratzenberger, I need you to see this.
Susan didn't hesitate into following Mrs. Ratzenberg. Oh my god, I'm only 16 pages into this shit. Fuck. All the way to the entrance of the lobby of the company outdoors. Maybe there'd be a lot of dialogue in spaces. Outdoors, there was a messy bearded man with a beanie, reader glasses, and a military coat unpacking something from his leather gym bag on the back trunk of his car, as opposed to the trunk in the front of his car. He's got that Urkel car with the trunk in the front and the engine in the back. What the fuck? It had a weird-looking windmill symbol on the front of the car. It turned out to be a swastika. The man was at a considerable distance from the gate with his car. Susan sweats as she recognizes that man from a distance.
Do you know that guy?
Asked Mrs. Ratzenberg. Susan replied with fear in her own eyes. Sam Hyde. The man unpacked an AR-15 assault rifle. Oh, by the way, it's not an assault rifle, you fuck. It's like an automatic reticulating rifle. That's what the AR for, you stupid motherfucker. Anyway, from his bag, and then slowly approached the gate with rifle in hand and a belt filled to the brim with hand grenades, a handgun, and a combat knife. Susan yelled for her life, "Run! Call the police!" Everyone started backing off from the lobby deeper into the offices, running away from the approaching Sam. Hey, could somebody tweet this to Sam when it's done, since he's supposed to be having a fist fight with Jamal? Actually, don't, because this has nothing to do with Jamal. This is Jim Ma's book. I got confused. Never mind. While Susan hid behind the reception desk quickly, and Sam Hyde kicked the door open, bursting into the place like a nuclear missile. What? Wait, how does Sam sound? Hardcore mental illness, Sam yelled. He opened fire on Cletus, who was killed there minding his own business with the snack machine. Then to the rest of the remaining employees who stood there, dealing a fatal blow to each of them. Sam burst into a maniacal laughter that could be heard all across the entire company while he was snipping down employees by employees on the building, advancing steadily towards the interior of the building. Sam Hyde was yelling for attention. I wonder, where would Susan Washkicki be at this precise moment? And this precise day, I've got a special deal with her. Fuck, how does he sound? He did the coom. Would you coom? Like, I usually do a voice by getting into a character with a particular line, but I don't do a Sam Hyde impression. Like, should I slather myself with burger grease and run my hands all through my hair and finish the stream from my car? That's the only way I know how to sound like him. Love the guy, but Christ, fucking rub a towel over your head before you do a video. Fuck. Susan was in grave danger. She stood behind the reception desk, well hidden for the moment, but she couldn't hide for much longer. Samuel W. Hyde would find her in the hiding spot, and that would be fatal. Okay, chapter 5, page 17 of 47. Wow. Okay. Susan was scared for her life. She was saving her screaming since she didn't want to spoil her hiding spot and get a headshot from Sam Hyde, but she could easily do out of terror for her own life. Sam was passing next to the reception desk looking for new targets, and he had already shot dead 12 co-workers from the building. Suddenly, Sam smelled something. Oh boy, Sam continued sniffing. Oh boy, I smell the perfume of an old lady. And you know who wears old lady perfume? Yeah, me when I'm done fucking your mama, motherfucker. Susan recognized her own smell from her perfumed clothing when Sam was looking at her hiding spot. A Jew! Sam yelled as he shot Robinson dead. What? Oh, maybe he sneezed and they just spelled it phonetically. He went, achoo! That's what it was. Then Sam screamed in shock when he saw such a Frankenstein-type abomination drop with the head of the dog dropping from his neck. Frankenstein was the doctor, not the monster, you fuck. You could say a Frankenstein's monster type of abomination, or you could just say an abomination, a homunculus. I mean, Frankenstein's monster has two names. You either call him Adam, which was his name in the second draft, or you call him Prometheus, because that was his name in the first draft. It's Frankenstein, a modern-day Prometheus. I hate when people reference Frankenstein and haven't read the book. Fuck you. Susan had enough. She ran out of her hiding spot in the reception desk to go towards the door of customer support and into customer support while Sam was firing at Susan, surprisingly missing all the shots. She went into customer support. Say customer support one more fucking time in this paragraph. I will find you and bite the back of your knee. We're a bunch of highly focused Pajeets. Oh, that's real nice. We're doing their job as usual. A whole room full of Pajeets with turbans and headsets on their respective computers was spacious. If you have those guys, they're not in fucking LA, they're in India. That's the whole point, is that you don't pay them a livable wage and they live with their mom in a fucking 3x3 house full of rats they share milk with. You fucking racist jerk. With a spacious hallway in the middle where she ran through, escaping.
That is right, Coolio. It's the designated shitting customer service room. Good morning, ma'am. Will you do the needful? and let me redeem your pussy.
Okay, where did I leave off? Sam Hyde entered the room, and it's very important you say his full name every time. Entered the room and tried to keep firing shots at Susan while she was evading fire, getting into one row of Indian tech support people. He lost her. Well, really, she lost him, but whatever, we're splitting hairs. He went searching Susan down the room? Come on, Mrs. Washkiki. Don't do this to me. I'm a cool guy. I'm a swell guy. But then I get a little sugar in me and I get cuckoo. I get wacky. Sam approached and interrupted one of the Indian men. One of the Indian men in shirts. Hey, I want to let you know more specifically which of these Indian men. Oh, the one with a shirt. Oh, thanks. There we go. Who was currently talking to a customer and asked, "Hey, have you seen a Jewish woman around here?" As soon as I'm not gonna say Pajit because I don't want to get banned. As soon as the man of Indian descent was about to talk to Sam, Sam interrupted again. "Shut the fuck up! I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna shoot, and this little bullet is gonna come out of here and kill you." Susan naively arranged. She naively arranged a quick escape out of the tech support room. How do you do that naively?
Oh, I can escape by walking directly into the gun.
What? The fuck? Yes, that's right, Dacer. The implication is that some of them are shirtless with their big suckable flapjack nipples hanging out in the sun. Somebody paid them 3,000 rubies. Some little old lady.
"Yes, redeem the Hallmark gift card. I will show you my nipples, you dirty bitch. Good morning."
Where did I leave off? Oh, yeah, she naively escaped. When Sam spotted her as quick as eagle sight, he missed every shot, killing some Indian tech support people in the process. While the entire room fled away, that office building grew legs and just got the fuck on out of there. Chaos was running the company. Oh, that's the first metaphor where 17 out of 47 pages in now is the winner of our discontent, and chaos was running the company. As Susan quickly fled through a flight of stairs upwards to the floor of her office. Must have been standing on her head to go up to get to the floor. While Sam followed slowly, because I already said earlier she's on the ground floor. Whatever, maybe she has more than one office. Sam followed slowly but boldly. Suddenly, on the middle of the staircase, Susan slipped on a yellow banana peel and fell to the ground. "Cletus, you dumbass," she murmured. "Watch where you leave, you lousy lunch, you retard." She stumbled her way back up. Well, you'd be stumbling going down. If you're stumbling up, you don't get up. Unless you're Joe Biden trying to get on a plane, then you can stumble up. But we're splitting hairs. To her office's floor. Sam was nearly catching up to Susan, and when Susan slipped through the door, Sam quickly swept in a detonated hand grenade. About to if it's detonated, it has exploded. You would say a triggered hand grenade, which accidentally landed on the hands of one fat employee on a mobility scooter that yelled, "Oh, mama, food!" Okay, I'm seeing a little bit. Maybe not what this person's saying. Are they going to take a bite out of a perfect block of cheese, this character?
Should I just do the voice for this one? "Give me that grenade, I'm starving."
Although I guess I stole that character from Tom Peters' wife.
"Tom, I need you to go out and get me 45 hams. My lovers are starving."
The grenade exploded, launching the fat woman's guts, brains, and bloody cholesterol-riddled mess out of the air, while the rest of the employees around it contributed to the chaos by fleeing the place as soon as they saw the comedian shooter. Sam opened fire to the remaining employees as Susan quickly went her way towards her office to quickly call the cops, but a bunch of dyed-hair women were obstructing her way by having a coffee conversation.
"Please, let me through,"
Susan pleads to the woman in her coffee break.
Susan, darling, we were talking about how oppressive loud office noises are to women. Care to join us?
The woman seemed as careless as if nothing was going on. There's a shooter on the loose. Let me through, quick.
Susan, every hour there's a shooting, and surely isn't he going...
And it surely isn't going on in he. Sam caught up and shot all those giggling women down. Susan had the chance to escape as Sam tried to shoot down Susan. She got into her office, locked the door shut behind her, and hid behind her own desk, terrified. Sam quickly approached the door. Everything does everything quickly in this. Like, they don't saunter, they don't mosey. Everything's either really or quickly. Favorite modifiers of the author. And tried to kick it down as Susan was picking up the phone and dialing 911. But suddenly the phone runs out of battery. She was... What? She was left hopeless, and death was kicking Death was kicking into the room. I guess that's another metaphor. We're on number 2. Clem, this is on page 18 of 47. Oh, yes, please. I want MDE to adapt this. Please. Don't change anything. Do a straight adaptation. Where were we? Sam quickly approached the door, yelling, and tried to kick it down. Susan was picking up the phone. The batteries died. She was left helpless. And death was kicking in the room. And she started praying Yahweh. In silence as Sam continued yelling,
Susan, I got a deal for you.
Wait, I can't do his voice. Maybe I should do Jack Nicholson. Because he's basically, this character is Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
Here's Johnny. Susan, I got a deal for you. It's $1 million deal for your funeral.
Then outside on the window, she heard cop car sirens. Finally, she was saved. If that's the case, the cops would finally get Sam Hyde, the most heinous mass shooter of all time, who was reported falsely by the media as a shooter numerous times, and who now is an actual mass shooter, and saved the YouTube HQ survivors like her out of this miserable situation. That sentence had so many run-on fucking clauses it should have a pair of Nike running shoes. Holy shit. The SWAT quickly stormed the area. Wait.
Shit, cursed Sam. The fucking cops, finally. This is my one moment. My epic troll moment. My chance to finally shine. Like I did with my show.
The SWAT team finally stormed the area and saw the complete destruction that followed Samuel L. Hyde in his path of death, then surrounded Sam. Freeze! Yelled one of the SWAT agents. Get down! Get down! Yelled as they pointed their assault rifles towards the shooter, and as soon as he was surrounded, Sam had one last word on it. World peace, motherfuckers. Sam pulled out his handgun. He placed the barrel in his mouth and self-inflicted quickly a shot into his own head, dropping the comedic colossus dead down. The madness was over. Sam Hyde is dead, and he dragged 30 YouTube HQ 8 employees to hell with him. Susan noticed. Yeah, I'm glad she didn't miss that part. And she got out of her hiding spot and unlocked the door of her office. Wait, so the door is shut. How did she notice? The SWAT members lowered their guns. Miss, are you all right? Susan was stunned. Yeah, she uttered. The rest of the surviving YouTube employees came out of their hiding spots and saw a corpse of the mass shooter. Devin came out of his hiding spot as well from the shredded paper container near Sam's corpse and said, well, now I don't know. Now I don't think I want more cocoa dung. Oh, what a punchline. Woo! I'm going to give you guys a second to wipe the sweat off your forehead from that gut tickler. Technically, that's a non sequitur. That's going to cost us $1 million from Google's bag, said Susan, while she already calmed down for a bit. Oh, now you're talking about money, Devin sarcastically objected, and he dropped out from the paper container. You think only about money when people died here. Devin, people died here, Susan screamed. What? He knows, you fuck. He just said that. Why are you exclaiming that? Mrs. Ratzenberg also came out of her hiding spot to find... Yes, his final word should have been the aristocrats. You're right. You should have told the moth joke. All right, guys, before you shoot me dead, let me just tell you about a moth with marriage problems. I was hiding in the dumpster outside, Mrs. Ratzenberg replied. It smelt like Cletus's farts in there. Speaking of which, where's Cletus? Cletus is dead, affirmed Susan. Then Mrs. Ratzenberg panicked and screamed all the way back out, running away. No one could believe what just happened here, and Susan knew what was going to be the hourly mass shooting of today. It was going to be all on the news nationwide and worldwide, but most importantly, she started thinking she was not as safe as she was told. She started thinking that. She thought Hillary McFarty Donkey and everyone had lied to her somehow. What? Daystra, instead of... I don't want to show the text on screen because, the guy gave me permission to read it, but, I don't want people making copies. I will give my opinion after... And, if you guys pop into the green room on Discord after this, I'll bring, one at a time. You guys can give me your opinion. We'll have the Empty Hero Book of the Month Club today, all right? I like, though, he's doing, or she is doing, a 1984 kind of thing. Instead of the daily hate, it's the hourly shooting. The fuck? Oh, well, thank you, Anonymous, too, for enjoying my scrunchy video. Overall says nobody wants a copy of this. That's mean. Maybe I should delete this when I'm done. This is like I feel like an FBI agent who has to watch a video of a child being raped. But I have the option of deleting the video, the file when I'm done. They actually save that shit on record. I should forward this to the FBI. If they find it on your computer, you go to jail. It was a sad day at Cletus's funeral. The cemetery is... It was, and now it is. The cemetery is crowded with plenty of coworkers. That's called changing your tense midstream. You have to... Either the whole thing is present tense or the whole thing is past tense. You can't switch midstream. It fucks everything up. It was very... Yes, I do think the FBI enjoys it. That's why they get the job. They're like, oh God, please. I don't want to find out that there's aliens. Please let me be a pedo on Epstein Island. Yes! Yes, I finally get to compare the buttholes to the tape. Finally. Yuck. It was very clear. Oh, it says right here all FBI people should be shot dead. I didn't write that. This guy did. It was very clear Cletus was YouTube's rather favorite employee since he didn't really make any complaints to staff other than constantly asking for when's the payday and being completely retarded. You know what? This is a reference to somebody Jim Ma knows. This is somebody else who worked with him or her at the... I know where this person worked, at the place that made the things where this guy worked. This is very personal. I gotta find out who this motherfucker is. His name wasn't Cletus, but this is somebody. Next to this funeral, there was Robinson's funeral. They had competing, dueling funerals, like when two kids have a birthday party on the same day. What the fuck? Along with each individual funeral for each of the 30 YouTube employees that died that fateful day when Sam Hyde did the mass shooting of the hour at YouTube HQ. No. The Reverend made the final statement. Please, O Lord, accept Cletus MacDonald in your home in heaven, as he was truly a good man of good faith, for he may forever be forgiven for all his past transgressions and sins. Mrs. Ratzenberg was still astonished from the catastrophe. I can't believe it. He even killed Cletus. That man has no soul left. No white man has a soul. Susan pointed. Maybe he means to say pointed out when he does that, because that's like the guy from Kung Pao. My finger points. But what about me? You're a Jewish dummy. Susan again pointed to Devin.
Oh yeah, Devin thought loudly. That's actually right, except I'm not supposed to admit it publicly.
Okay, that part was almost good. The line should have been, oh yeah, Devin thought. Except for when it suits my needs to not be. Okay? Still, how are we going to recover from this? Any of the shootings that happen every hour could strike again to us. It's not the first one, Susan remarked. Remember when Nassim Agdam before this? That woman wasn't even close to what happened right now. Mrs. Ratzenberg angrily complained to Susan. She barely hit the body count of what Sam Hart managed to do. If you guys don't know, Nassim Agdam was a Middle Eastern tranny who nobody ever noticed this, but there's a thing like cross-dressers do where they buy a fake boob kit and they attach the fake boobs with a big fake diamond necklace. And in every video, people are like, wow, she's got sweet boobs. No, it was a weird gay little Middle Eastern guy, right? And the totally just strap-on boobs. And he would do videos like smiling for 3 hours while thinking about veganism. And this guy got let's just be nice. This woman, this person, whatever. These people, they got demonetized, as we all do. And instead of just filing an appeal like I did, they shut up YouTube, which was not a nice thing to do. And I don't get how nobody else has noticed the fucking color of the boobs and the head are two different colors, all right? It looks like a poorly made Honey Select character where the head's a mod and it don't fucking match. All right, enough about that. That's right, I recognize that bulgy. Yuck. Susan's smartphone rang up and Susan urgently picked it up. 1 second, she said. Wait, 1 second, she said. Hi, Hillary.
Hi, Susan. I know what happened over there at San Bruno.
You owe me an explanation, Hillary. You all told me YouTube HQ was safe. By the way, for the sake of brevity and saving my voice, I am skipping things where it's like Hillary said, she said. Just assume the poorly written, constant clarifying who's speaking is there. Because it is.
Yeah, about that. There were some things out of our control.
Yeah, well, no fucking shit. I nearly fucking got killed by Sam fucking Hyde on my own office, and of course, things were out of your control.
Listen, Susan, I said things were out of control because we barely know the alt-right was organizing anything. Nobody was able to hear anything from them.
How come?
Listen, Susan, I said things were out of control. I did that. Their presence on social media and online was absolutely non-existing for some reason. Oh,
okay, hey, if this author makes a point that they didn't know what was happening because they have been banned from social media, that's actually clever. That is actually very clever. Will that be where they go? Probably not. Not even on Discord?
Not even on Discord.
Oh, that's just absolutely bananas. What do we do now that we lost a good chunk of our workforce to gunfire?
Susan, there are more pressing matters that are coming up the following days. I'll have to talk with you later in person. You'll also be contacted by Madam President in a while. She's got plans for San Bruno.
All right.
I'll see you later, Susan. It was very expensive.
Oh, wait. Breaking news.
Anti-bully ranger tipped $3.33.
Oh, thank you.
That was why. She was Iranian, a Riron, vegan who poorly attempted to thought the thirst views.
Yeah, it's very strange. Like, because, Oh, you know what it was? It was because she was a foreigner. Her country did not let women monetize. If she had just been like, hey, these tits have a belt on the back, they would have monetized her. All those people could have lived. What the fuck? Anyway, she was pondering on the consequences of banning literally every... Oh my god, he actually... This is clever. Okay, this is point to Jim Ma. That's legitimately good. This should have been the whole lead up. The whole lead up should have been, oh, I've got messages from somebody, but I banned them. Oh, I'm getting all these blocked messages. I can't see them, right? All right. Oh, no one died in the shooting? Well, it's still not good. Okay. And her own platform. Would this be the cause of the mass shooting a few days back? Would they now be organizing something in top secret behind everyone's backs? She thought to herself then that she did what she thought was right. But was that enough to stop them from being anti-Semitic in the first place? She wondered why they banned them in the first place. It was a dark time. People started being anti-Semitic for some utter reason. Even people from left wing and right wing all together started talking about Jewish people out of the blue. She couldn't figure out why. But the wave of hate speech was so big, she had to put an end to it. The only people she could trust is a handful of Hollywood celebrities, the Paul brothers, and mainstream media. She then thought they were more powerful than she... She then thought that they were more powerful than she thought them to be at this point. Pretty much since one of them went for the second mass shooting in YouTube HQ with an AR-15. Oh, hey, here's a Simpsons reference. No, it's not me. It's those Nazis who are wrong, Susan thought to herself. Hi, Superintendent Susan Wachicki. Oh, it was Super Nintendo. I think I actually called him... Fuck my life. Nonetheless, Susan was starting to think that dark times were ahead for her career. If this mass shooting could happen in San Bruno at her doorsteps, this could happen again and again and again, and all over. So she had to do all the damage control possible, no matter if she's got the help of Hillary Clinton, McFarty Donkey, or whoever she's got to get help from. Wait, is McFarty Donkey a reference to Donkey? But McFarty Donkey is a woman and a midget and a clown. Man, I don't know. Anonymous Tube, Bob Sapp is an American-born athlete. He played football, he boxed, he did ultimate fighting, and then he went to Japan and he lost on purpose to little Japanese guys. He's very famous for doing commercials where he doesn't speak Japanese and just makes funny faces. No, Hellcat, this is not any better. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, I guess you're right. I did read the first 5 pages once to promote it, and then immediately after that, this author got raided by the FBI and lost his copy. Oops. Where was I? Starting to think, this would happen to San Bruno. She was starting to sense her own doomsday. She knew that she was in great, great danger. Well, writing great twice, that's... By the way, here's something that bad writers do. Never use the word really. Never repeat really, really. How about exceptionally? How about particularly? Especially? Jesus Christ. It's impossible to understand the mind of the author. Pop out one of your eyeballs and put a turd in your head. Not sure why. You know, that was a completely random reference. I really can't tell who the boss or the author of this is. Just some random person. All right, this is Act 2, Chapter 1. Page 22 of 47. We're not even halfway through this shit. I thought it'd be done in 45 fucking minutes. Susan woke up once again to the sound of the smooth, soothing alarm. I'm gonna read this sexy. She woke herself with a deep sensation of dread, rubbing her face with both hands in desperation. The smart house's digital voice spoke again. Good morning, Susan. Today is September 27th, 2019. We went back in time. It was originally September 25th, 2020. You went back in time a year.
The time is 7:05 a.m. Here is the news broadcast of today. Have a nice day. As Susan got herself ready, showered, dressed up, and was about to prepare her delicious breakfast, the news broadcast was speaking the latest news of the day. Breaking...
Oh, that's enough of that shit. What's that called when you do the whisper and you do the... Do I have a comb? Can I do the comb sound where it's like... Click, 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 click? Oh, ASMR. That's right. That's enough of that ASMR bullshit. You know, maybe I should re-record my audiobooks to be ASMR. They might sell better. Breaking news, another white supremacist mass shooting happened this very hour in Brooklyn. We haven't confirmed the identity of the shooter yet, but witnesses suspect it was a white man. Susan spread the peanut butter over her crispy toast as she murmured to herself, "Please don't be another Jew." The news went on, this just in the San Bruno shooting that happened a few days ago, Mrs. President McFarty Donkey. I just like, that's such a funny name, Mrs. Farty Donkey. She fucking issued more military security around the area of San Bruno, stating that the menace of the alt-right could be present at any moment, and we must be secured. Honk, honk. On regards to the Brooklyn shooter, the identity of the shooter was confirmed to be an Israeli 23-year-old man called Jimmy Schwartz, who shot down 42 people dead with a shotgun and injured 5 at Brooklyn Mall. I was hoping to have McFarty Donkey again so I could do a chip laugh. Fuck, that was the whole point of that, and I lost the joke halfway through. Fuck.
Damn it! Susan cursed as she took the first bite of the toast filled with peanut butter to the brim.
As she was eating the crispy, nutritious toast, she kept watching the news. No, I did not add the honk. Chen from Tuhu showed up for one scene. It has come to our attention that the Open Society Foundation magnate George Soros has recently passed away due to a heart attack when he was in private meeting with the ADL. Jonathan Greenblatt, the CEO of the ADL, has declared it is a saddening day to hear the passing of our fellow partner and colleague George Soros. He has been a great man and will live forever in our collective memory as one of the greatest men we've ever known. We'll dedicate this segment in the memory of George Soros. You know, I don't think this novel's a comedy. I think this is a drama. There haven't been any fucking jokes.
Then the news broadcast cut, apparently by mistake, to images of circus clowns in a morning show doing funny noises with the squeaky rubber chickens and simulating clown sex. Meanwhile, Susan knew that something was wrong. She knew deep down that, no matter what, she was next in the row of dying Jews. As she finished her toast, she sighed in a very concerned mood. She looked a moment... Can I read Reimu Fights the Bad Guys of Adrectness? I don't know what that is. That sounds like it's probably one of those dirty Japanese cartoon magazines. No. I'll get banned. She looked a moment out of her window. Then she found Mark Zuckerberg. She found Mark Zuckerberg stare deeply through the window from outside, and she felt a deep sensation of confusion as she looked back at Mark. She didn't even know how he jumped into her front lawn in the first place. She opened the window to talk to Mark. Mark, what are you doing here?
Hey, Susan. I know what happened several days before. I'm glad you're all safe and sound.
Yeah, thanks. Susan was slightly confused from the fact that Mark Zuckerberg was staring at her through the window of the front lawn. Can I ask you something?
Sure, you can.
Do you regularly do this to neighbors around here? Mark hesitated to come up with an answer, as he was constantly repeatedly blinking and flicking his tongue. Oh, he's a lizard man.
No, not at all. I just wanted to give you a surprise visit. I just wanted to see how you're doing.
Mark paused to awkwardly blink and flicker his tongue once more.
Just that,
Okay, I get it. I gotta go then. Cool, Mark said as he As Susan was about to grab her car and drive away to work, Mark was still staring at Susan while flicking his tongue a handful of times and weirdly blinking in a frequent fashion. I think he means like how lizards blink their eye left to right. Whatever, dude. Kami, it's not Ray Moo, it's Ray Romano Moo. Hey, I'm Kawaii. Come here and touch my pussy, honk honk, beep beep. Excuse me. Maybe I should read this as Ray Romano or Meatwad.
This time as Susan was driving on her way to work, she contemplated from time to time how the San Bruno neighborhood was filled to the brim with U.S. military agents patrolling the area. This one special...
No, I'm not doing it, because the Meatwad voice is meant for being funny, and this isn't funny. This is bad. The once peaceful district was now looking like it was about to be a war zone, with soldiers armed to the teeth, with assault rifles, shotguns, and flashbang grenades going around and being found at every single corner of these streets. Susan then decided to turn on the radio. The morning show was on, and they were speaking about the usual trends, but one in particular came to her attention. I'm thinking, what? Okay, Gash, I will do this character as Meatwad.
The latest new technology advancement, Me Too Coin, a cryptocurrency with which you can pay your way into taking a dump in the toilet.
That actually sounds like something Meatwad would say.
You can pay your way into taking a dump in the toilet. Users can simply scan the Me Too coin on the toilet's NFC reader, and they pay one to fully open the toilet seat and to be able to sit and take a poop for 15 minutes.
To Susan, that sounded like some sort of Disneyland money to pay for a public toilet. She giggled as she knew the idiotic Gentiles would buy away the cryptocurrency and consume toilets like that. Why does this author use the phrase consume toilets? What a coincidence. But the fun lasted for about a minute as she had more serious concern. How about a voice that's meant to be funny but has been overused into being unfunny? Tommy Wiseau. Shit, how does Tommy Wiseau sound? He sounds kind of... Are you saying the voice I'm doing, you fucker? I'm doing Chris Walken.
Tommy Wiseau sounds more like this. I treat you like a princess. You won't even eat my ass. You're tearing me apart, Meatwad. But you hit me.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I completely lost where I was. Shit. Then she remembered after the YouTube HQ mass shooting by Sam High, she got told by the president that she was going to be more investment into protecting San Bruno, though she sent military forces there and especially around YouTube HQ. She arrived at the YouTube HQ. Jesus Christ, every time. Why can't you just say at HQ or at YouTube? And got out of the car. The building was filled to the brim with military agents patrolling every single corner of the building. Well, there's only 4 corners, you fucker, so how about that? As she got to the entrance staircase through the YouTube HQ lobby, Mrs. Rathenberg was waiting for her at the gate.
Mrs. Washkicki, we got an important talk regarding the condition of employees' health.
What is it? Oh, is the Discord link no good? Hey, let me give you guys a fresh one. The problem with Discord is that even though I'll set it up to have an infinite link that doesn't expire, it always fucking expires after 7 days. So I'm going to very quickly go to invite, copy, and I'll post it in chat. Boom, that's the fastest way. This guy's just gonna join to post pictures of his butthole. You don't fucking fool me, motherfucker.
Not exactly.
Mrs. Rathenberg followed Susan all the way to her office. Meanwhile, while they were talking, Susan could see the faith of her own employees, which found to be a great concern. Wow, they didn't even take 1 day off for the shooting. It just occurred to me. They went back. They did go back in time a year, so the shooting hasn't happened for some reason. Even one of the employees was crying in the place, and another one was agitating his legs in terror every time a military guy passed next to him to grab a cup of coffee from the coffee machine.
Mrs. Wauch-Kicky, the employees of YOOTOOB are feeling a tad bit uncomfortable ever since the security measures have been
implanted. Not implemented, implanted. Okay.
The militaristic, brutal lifestyles of U.S. Navy soldiers does not go well with our employees' more positive attitude, and let's say it starts creating some bad vibes around the country. Company. Some employees were feeling like they were being watched constantly, even on their privacy, and even a few employees feel like they're being bullied by the U.S. military presence.
But they say they should be safer against mass shootings, isn't it?
Yes, but at the expense of the mental integrity of our coworkers.
I can't sacrifice our company's safety for the sake of the happiness of stupid Goyim. Just leave it be. They'll get used to it. Like when I chopped their fucking foreskin off, I added that line. That should have been how you tagged that joke. Excuse me, whatever. I ate like 5 pork chops right before the stream.
Well,
Mrs. Ratzenberg stopped next to Devin, who was biting his own fingernails as he was literally shaking, as opposed to literally, not literally, metaphorically shaking. Literarily shaking. That's what I was thinking of. Like, whatever, shaking in his workplace.
Now that I think of it, that's a good idea. At least we're safe from mass shootings.
Safe? Devin shouted angrily while grasping his cocoa dung bottle with his right hand. How are we safe when we have a fascist military dudes hanging around YouTube and being oppressive with their own fucking presence?
Sorry, I'm yawning.
Devin, calm down.
No.
Devin stood up completely enraged as he clenched his bottle of cocoa dung in hand. I am not letting myself get bullied by these fascists. Take that, Nazi! Devin flung his own bottle of cocoa dung to one of the patrolling soldiers in the office, and it splashed all over the soldier's head in a way that it looked like his face was covered in literal elephant diarrhea up, down to his shoulders. The soldier picked up his radio. Delta, this is Sticky Eagle. We got a dissident in Zone 4A70. Over. Multiple military agents swooped in rapidly to mass. Rapidly in mass. I think you mean en masse with an E, you fuck. To surround Devin as fast as lightning and grab Devin by his upper body, holding him immobilized in such a way that no matter what kind of struggle Devin pulled to pull out and escape, he could not pull away from the mass of buffed up soldiers holding him still. This is like naked lunch. If you don't know what that means, go fuck yourself. Get off of me, you fascists, yelled Devin. Shut up, kiddo, one of the soldiers scolded. We're taking you away, all the way to Guantanamo, and you'll have a lot of fun there, you dirty communist scum. I don't want to go to Guantanamo, Devin yelled while attempting to resist. Well, the soldier told Devin, that's what you get when you fuck with the Eagles, son. America! Fuck yeah! Another soldier roared while holding Devin. All the group of 5 soldiers dragged Devin outside to carry him to Guantanamo. Yes, Naked Lunch is the gayest fucking movie. Holy shit, that movie's fucking awful. I wasn't saying this is like Naked Lunch. Naked Lunch is fucking terrible, and half the movie is a guy tickling a gigantic butthole on a fucking bug typewriting machine. If that makes any sense to you, kill yourself, because it shouldn't. Devin was constantly barking and kicking, trying to resist being dragged to his own demise. Susan and Mrs. Ratzenberg looked awkwardly at Devin being dragged out. Susan knew from the sight being arrested for good that the following days were up to no good. She told Mrs. I'm sorry for yawning, this is awful. I can swear that knowing this whole situation, we need to properly do enough damage control to sort these out. I know for certain that shit's gonna be fucked up in the coming days. Oh, please have it pick up. Okay, we are on page 26 of 47. This is, part 2, chapter 2. Oh my god. A few days later, on Thanksgiving, on Thursday morning, everything went somehow smoothly. Despite the general discontent of the workforce at YouTube HQ, Susan was fine working at her luxury cosmopolitan office. That would change when Mrs. Ratzenberg came down and delivered the news.
Mrs. Washkicki, I'm sorry to bring you the bad news. Well, apparently one of our biggest advertisers dropped.
Which is it?
Cocoa Dung. Oh, holy Tora. It can't be fucking Cocoa Dung. Why is that? Well, according to public statements, Cocoa Dung LLC does not support the misuse of their products for violent purposes, such as what happened back on Monday with Devin.
Well, Devin had to fuck it up, didn't he? That company was sustaining us with millions of dollars in revenue, and now the revenue of thousands of media outlets is going to tank down.
What am I supposed to do?
Hey, you fucking Finocchio, you go to a bad book for a couple of weeks, you become a Hollywood quid. What's the matter with you?
I'm gonna wake myself up by reading chat very quickly. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see. Well, Devin had to fuck it up. Then Skype rang up on Susan's desk. Susan was sweating profusely like a swine in hell, and was shaking to know that the one calling her on Skype was none other than Stephanie Colbert, the host of The Colbert Show. Back a couple of years ago, it was Stephen Colbert who made the decision of transitioning. Oh, Pot, you calling the kettle black? We're making a tranny joke, huh? Well, transitioning to being a transgender woman and to join the furry fandom. 2 for 2. Is he going to eat shit? It was very noticeable that Colbert had a troublesome time with his mental health a couple years back. The man would eventually suffer from gender dysphoria and turn himself into a pickle. Funniest fucking thing I ever seen. Into a transgender female. Nowadays, the Colbert Report, now fully on YouTube, only features Colbert doing near pornographic content on YouTube, and he has got no community guideline strikes ever since, like the time he was spreading his bottom cheeks under the panties under his skirt, and Susan knew that the man or the woman would be insane enough to be a complete miserable round of a pain for her. I reckon you could make me some French fried poopers. Shit right on my face. What are you gonna do with that sling blade covered in shit? Irons to lick it and then kills you with it. Oh, I've got a draw request, but I can't see it. Draw a picture of Jim Ma sucking off Sterling. No! It's disgusting. I'm still waiting for Fuzz to make his Jim Ma picture, that cocksucker. Where was I? She got to her computer, put on her headset, and pick up the call. On Skype, they did a video conference where Colbert was appearing on webcam in his pink dress and his blue long wig, and he carried 7 layers of makeup on him. He looked very infuriated. Well, Mrs. Washkicki, you know why I'm calling you right now, right? No, if this doesn't have a 2 scoops joke, you can go fuck yourself. This has to be 2 scoops. No, Mrs. Colbert, what is it? Susan nervously replied, sweating profusely from the top to the bottom of her face. Well, one of my biggest advertisers, Cocoa Dung, has recently dropped out, as far as I heard. And ever since, my revenue has been tanking down on my show. And all because of your stupid employees had to do an act of violence. I am extremely disappointed with you all. So much that I'm incredibly infuriated. Don't you know who I am? I am Stephanie Colbert, host of The Colbert Show, top tier and the most subscribed channel on your platform, an A-tier celebrity. And you decide to let one of your incompetent employees fuck it up? Disgusting! Well, it was fucking one of yous. This is like sometimes if I have a bad day at work, I don't want to complain too much, but where I work, I'm like one of two managers who manage two very large groups of people. And in the last hour of the night, that fucking nice girl, but that cunt goes home an hour early every fucking night. And I gotta run between areas to fucking manage everything. And the first week I had to do it and get used to it, I would have dreams of being at work and running back and forward. And this is so stressfully bad, I feel like I'm gonna dream about having to continue reading it. Ugh. I hate it. I hate life. I hope fucking... What's that movie where the guy talks to a guy in a rabbit suit and a plane crashes through his house? I hope that fucking happens to me. Skip the furry suit. Just have a plane crash into my house. Ugh. Alright, where am I? Susan didn't even know what to say. She uttered a mere "I." But then Colbert interrupted her and continued. Oh, thank you, big guy.
It was very expensive.
Okay, good. I thought I was working.
Big guy super chatted $5. Godspeed empty.
Thanks, big guy. Oh, are you for me? Ah, would it hurt if I pulled my fucking dick off? Ah, became a woman. Ah. Yes, that was Donnie Darko. You know, posterity says it's a shit movie. I haven't seen it since I was 13, and I loved it when I was 13. I don't want to rewatch it. The only way I'm rewatching Donnie Darko is with a big titty goth girlfriend who's never seen it. I have a rule against rewatching things that I know are going to be awful. Susan didn't even know what she... You have no excuse for this, Susan. I don't want to go back to the godforsaken television that nobody watches these days, but you left me no other choice. This is the end of our relation with your platform and you, Mrs. Washkiki, or should I say, Mrs. Wiener? Wow, that's the joke. The joke is that you're a wiener. I am a wiener. Goodbye. And as soon as Colbert blew it up, he hung up the video. Oh, he called him a he. That's rude. The video call immediately leaving Susan with an agonic sensation of existential dread in her own soul. Okay, existential is a nice word. Agonic. Agonic. Let's see, does spell check have something for that? Agonized? I'm going to go with agonized. Unless we're William Shakespeare and we're just making up words.
Well, I'll make my own word.
Sometimes you make your own word. That's okay.
What voice was I doing? What was it? What's the voice? Oh, walking. Oh, Susan delivered in a deep sigh. If Miss Colbert calls me a wiener, what do we do?
Oh, he probably just called you a winner, replied Mrs. Ratzenberg.
Mrs. Ratzenberg, I know the exact pronunciation of the word wiener when I hear it, and I know it's the word wiener when I hear it. Do I look like a winner here? If we lose even more advertisers and more users from our platform, our investors are going to drop, and Sundar Pichai is not going to be happy about it. Oh, you don't like not having advertisers. Okay, YouTube. See how it is, you motherfuckers. Then Sundar appeared at the office door.
You called?
Speaking of the devil, Susan rubbed the palm of her hand on her face.
I don't want to be a downer, Mrs. Washkiki, but I hear there's a lot of trouble up here. In fact, so much trouble that our investors are starting to get scared out of YouTube, and it's not good enough to have you on live support under Google.
Look, more advertisers can come. Holy shit, this is fucking awful. Ugh, I'm gonna stop being nice to this guy for a while. This is fucking dreadful. Don't disown it because it's Nazi stuff. Disown it because it's bad. Christ. This is like listening to two women talk about fucking pussy farts.
Does it look like advertisers can come, Susan? A lot of our advertisers and investors are getting scared away by the fact that your company is becoming a mental health train wreck, literally and figuratively, even though there's really a lobby over there, television is starting to invest in Vimeo right now. So this... We can sustain this for longer. I know you've been through so much shit. 'Cause I dropped it on the street myself.
That should have been the joke, but
But we got a meeting today at 12 a.m. Be there or be square.
as soon as Sundar ended, he got out of the room and slammed the door away like a carpet bomb. Susan looked at Mrs. Ratzenberg. You take care of this while I go there at Google HQ for a moment. I'll try to calm down on investors. Susan left the office, left the building, and got on her car, driving all the way to South San Francisco. On the way, she saw the military at San Bruno look more tired in looks, like they were slightly about to fall asleep. Speaking of which, when she left San Bruno to get South San Francisco, she saw that the metropolitan equivalent of a city in ruins was. The building out there could have been postmodern beauties if it wasn't for the trash, excrement, and syringes littered all around the street. Bags of feces were accumulated on every corner, and next to them was a decrepit homeless person wandering around aimlessly with rags as clothed and stumbling around like real-life zombies. Suddenly, her car stopped without her control. Susan looked at the gas meter. It seemed like the car went out of gas. Susan kvetched furiously in the car and regretted everything about running out of gas on her car. She had to get out and walk all the way to Google HQ down in San Francisco, so she opened the door, left the car, and started walking. But along the way, there was a homeless man in rags that used to be a gaming t-shirt and jogging pants. It was a rather fat man with a messy goatee, marks all around his neck, and apparent signs of gout, stumbling toward Susan like an undead minion. Yes, Dave, sure, I guess I would read a sequel to this if I got permission. Ugh. Assuming I survive this and it doesn't give me a brain aneurysm. She assumed the man was addicted to heroin or something similar. He uttered the words condominium, bullshit, and I am Dark Side Phil. Along with... Whoa! Right on time with the bugged writing mechanics. There's a delay on chat, so how did you know that was going to be DSP? There's no fucking way you could tell. I guess just the goatee. Along with random ramblings about some past life he was getting donations or something. Yeah, I know the feeling, Phil. Susan tried to dodge the man, but the man turned to every side. He was trying to dodge on until he got even closer. Leanna! He roared at Susan, probably mistaking her from somebody else. Susan screamed and ran away from him while he was persecuting Susan, tripping on his feet like a bumbling drunkard. The heroin-filled man kept grubbing and roaring like at Susan while she ran across the South San Francisco and lost him eventually. Then she recognized the man herself. That was fucking Darkside Phil, she cursed, exhausted from running away from a bumbling heroin addict man. She knew that she was not the only one who banned him, and she knew other platforms like Twitch could not give the man a chance and banned him as well. So he went completely bankrupt and homeless, trying to ease his pain with heroin. Possibly with his uncle who also likes it, but that's a different story. She kept going onwards towards the Google offices at South San Francisco, stumbling upon piles of feces littered heroin needles and mountains of trash in the city, and she could not stop. Page 29 of 47, Chapter 3 of Act 2. Let me get a sip. Susan arrived at the Google office in South San Francisco. She tiringly dragged herself into the meeting room where Sundar Pichai and other well-suited old executive Jewish men gathered. The room was white, clean. Several decorations of green, yellow, blue, and red dots covered bits of the wall. But there was no windows, just a chalkboard and a projector screen. The meeting table was wiped clean, and on it the executives all placed their hands, holding both each other as in an authoritative hand gesture.
Sit down, Susan,
Sundar inquired. Susan stumbled her way into the chair at the opposite end of Sundar with all the executive Hebrews in the middle. They were staring at Susan in her face, and as soon as Susan sat down, there was an incredible stench of fecal matter emanating from all the trash she's passed through and stepped on. The board meeting could have nothing else but noticed it, wincing in disgust after a couple of sniffs up their noses.
These men have come to remind you of the importance that holding our investors by the hand has. The dire situation at YouTube as a company has led many of our investors to get scared away and lead the company to a way worse negative balance than the one that was sustainable at the time. Mr. Levi!
Yes,
Mr. Levi replied, as one of the executives, and talked down to Susan.
We are investors, and we demand a solution to justify our investments in your company.
These things are beyond our control, replied Susan, but suddenly got interrupted by Mr. Levi.
We don't just demand justifications. We demand solutions. Mrs. Washkickia, solutions. We are tired of so many justifications after literally 10 years of constant mishaps, and that led customers base astray, and thus the investor base. People are losing interest in your platform, Mrs. Washkickia, since you don't offer any valid solutions to the many complaints that not only your investors have made, but also your consumers.
But what are you so concerned about consumers now for, Mr. Levi? Questioned Susan, raising an eyebrow. I forgot what voice he did. Fuck. What's his voice? No.
Because consumers mean profit, Mrs. Washkickia. We couldn't care about consumers if it wasn't for the fact that they're making us a profit. And by losing a massive advertisers, the biggest ones even, and losing consumer base, the investors have no reason to invest in a company that's sinking down like the Titanic, no matter the circumstances.
The secretary approached Thundar and whispered to his ear that the conversation was going on. Then Thundar rushed to sit up from his place like a springing rabbit.
Gentlemen, do not fret. I will have a solution by the help of our benefactors. In the meantime, Mrs. Washkickia can just go.
Susan left the meeting room with a big frown of frustration on her face, and as soon as she exited the door, she met Hillary Clinton, who was outside the room for a while good. She looked emaciated, aging like a cartoon of old milk mixed with the finest of diarrhea. What? Aging like a carton of old... I said cartoon. Old milk mixed with the finest of diarrhea. She then resembled for a slight chance that Hillary used to... She still resembles for a slight chance the Hillary that used to be back from nearly 10 years ago. Yet filled to the brim with wrinkles and with one red eye.
Bruce Goldberg tipped $2. Laugh all you want, but Jim Wa's Titanic tome of Temessin toiletries is currently being studied by the FBI for its dense symbolism and masterful political rhetoric. Meanwhile, Lempton's books can't even outsell Al Franken. Seethe, cope, and dilate.
Damn it. If only Al Franken didn't stop the FBI from taking every copy that ever existed of my book. Fuck. No. They're gonna... You know what? When I made the paperbacks of all my books, some motherfucker scooped me and got the first print copies way before I could. And I got the first copies of these. So I guess if the FBI wants, they could steal the first hardbacks. Those cocksuckers. Before I announced it, somebody did order one, but I got mine first. Suck my bowels. Actually, no, you're actually really nice. Thanks for supporting me. But you're number 2, baby. I'm number 1. Susan followed Hillary into a nearby smoker's room, and as they entered, Susan was coughing in such a hysterical manner that she could not breathe for a fraction of a minute. Then, when Susan regained her consciousness after feeling her senses spinning around from coughing from all the smoke in the room, Hillary grabbed one marble pack from her pocket, packed a cigarette, put it in her lips, grabbed her lighter, and lighted it up, blowing a plume of smoke directly into Susan's face in such a way that Susan was coughing again for a dozen seconds to the point of feeling dizzy before regaining her posture.
Susan, darling, I know you're in a pretty bad situation, but we still got a little bit of hope.
What hope? Susan kvetched. The company's going in the toilet right now. Susan coughed for a bit before going on. If it's not a miracle, YouTube would just be no more.
Susan, I know there will be solutions right now, but there are more concerning things you should be worried about.
Hillary inhaled and exhaled another puff of smoke.
Do you remember the Epstein case from 6 years ago?
Yeah, what about it?
They brought it back up. The authorities found out Epstein's contacts out of one of the witnesses, and you're on it.
Shit, I knew they were gonna catch me red-handed.
And if they realize you're there, they're gonna try to find all the information on you.
So?
Just try to remain silent.
This really hurts my throat, continuing to do this fucking voice. I'm gonna keep doing it, but this shit fucking hurts, man. And, let me just close this. Something just popped open.
And focus on damage control you got, and everything will be fine.
Hillary puffed another cloud of smoke before finishing.
Now go, and cheer up that face.
Susan then left the smoker's room, and a breath of fresh air contributed to the round of positive thoughts she suddenly had. All the damage control in Sudar already had a solution granted to him and his investors. She felt a deep sensation of relief within her mind. Holy fuck, it's 11 at night. This should have been 45 minutes long, as many words are in it. But it's just painful. The lobby's TVs were playing the news at the moment, and people started gathering to see what the news had to say.
This just in, a viral video depicts Susan Washkicki defecating on a bucket of ice cream at a grocery store and then eating the ice cream covered in her own excrement. Why is that the running gag? It is a video uploaded by an anonymous user that garnered 98 million views. One of the people presented there after witnessing the news on TV turned his head around to see Susan, extremely shocked by such humiliation. He yelled, Look, the poo eater, Washkicki. Everyone laughed. She was fucked. But she said she didn't put the chip in her head. That was earlier. They didn't put the poop chip in her head. You literally stated earlier she didn't install the fucking chip. If you're not following, there's a chip that people put in their head, and it lets people make them eat poop. Is that what he told his psychologist he did? No, they put the sour cream and onion chip in my head. I had to chase it down with some shit. Susan started to get incredible. Oh, you know what? Yeah, there's a plot twist. My guy. What? Oh, it's Big Guy. Yeah, she's the tomato. This is Big O season 3. All over again. Fuck. Susan started to get incredibly nervous. Everyone in the room was laughing at her as the footage of her scatological YouTube prank appeared on TV. She didn't know what to do, and there was a call now for completely extreme, desperate measures. Now that not only her company was on the brink of utter destruction, but her reputation as well. Then she thought, Mr. Zuckerberg must be doing so well, despite all this. I think it's time to ask him for help. I got to hurry. You're not going to ask him when you got the brain chip, you fucking bitch? She had to exit. Arrived outside and found someone inside of a parked white car in front of her. An old lady was inside the driver's seat, and Susan rushed to the driver's side of the car and knocked her window. The old woman lowered the window to see Susan. I'm gonna need your car, asked Susan to the old woman, because apparently she did not drive herself to work for the first time. I could drive you anywhere, young lady. You don't need to. The old lady replied, but then Susan completely lost her broken patience and opened the driver's side door, jacked the car, and threw the old lady down to the pavement aggressively. Susan... My God, this This is painful. Susan drove away fiercely on her way back. You ever see the movie The Great Outdoors where John Candy has to eat a 30-pound steak? And just after the first 20 pounds, he feels awful. And then he plows through the last 10. And he's like, okay, guys, I'm done. Do I get the t-shirt? And they point at the 10 pounds of fat that he cut off and didn't eat. And they're like, no, you gotta eat the gristle too, motherfucker. I feel like I'm looking at a big plate of 10 pounds of gristle with 16 pages left to go. Fuck. Like, I've done 10-hour streams. Can you write a review of this for Amazon? You know what? I think you can. His book is on Amazon. It's not available in print. It is called YouTube, Susan's Day of Retribution. And I always suggest if you like my books or anybody else's books, leave a review. That's the next best thing you can do to buying another copy. The more reviews, the better. If you want to help out Jim Ma, by all means, after we're done, write a review. Okay, Susan drove recklessly fast down the streets of South San Francisco like the car was about to explode, drifting at every corner and hitting on every lamp pole and street sign. While she was about to exit South San Francisco, she noticed something in her visor. A horde of homeless people were chasing her by foot, along with a couple police cars persecuting her. When I get tired, I start talking like a 5-year-old. Police calls. I want some grape juice for my police calls. No, I'm not going to leave a review because my only Amazon account is my personal one. With my real name on it. No. They were all catching up to her slowly. Susan started to get incredibly upended, fit, and tried to zigzag her car to lose them. The chase went on for a long time while Susan was drifting at every corner to lose the cop cars and the homeless people chasing her. Damn, those are some fast homeless people. She hit some of the other homeless and ran over them like nothing ever mattered. She drove so hard and got so far. She had lost hope for her own career. She eventually loses hope for her own integrity. She had to find a solution as fast as possible, no matter what. I do feel like I'm getting sick as I read this, like I'm getting COVID. I'm not streaming tomorrow because I'm going to be drained after this. Fuck. Then, eventually, she arrived at San Bruno and had lost everyone completely. She was safe for now. She parked next to a Five Guys restaurant on a parking lot. She took her time to try to relax. She was still agitated from a chain of events. She felt a feeling on her stomach. She felt hungry. You can't just say how your characters feel. That makes me angry. She then thought, that's a Futurama joke, and I told that joke in creative writing class, and it fucking killed. She felt hungry. Then she thought if she was about to get out of the car and go outside to the real world, people would still recognize her and make her day worse. She needed to conceal her own face. She saw security cameras out in the parking lot and around Five Guys in the distance. She needed to surpass the surveillance if she didn't want to be detected. She started digging the stuff that was in the car. She found a makeup kit and a beanie. She had improvised. She painted herself Picasso-style dribbles on her face. Yeah, you and a woman that smells my rag all the same. Dribbles on the face. Yeah, you like that, you little bitch. You like the dribbles. Detection from the surveillance could not recognize. She put on the beanie and got out of the car. She slowly approached the Five Guys restaurant. As soon as she realized she had no change on her pocket, she had no money to eat anything on her wallet. So she had to improvise again. If she wanted to munch something, I got something you can munch. Just put it in your mouth and go tickle, tickle. All right, that's enough of that. Then a miracle happens. She saw a dead black man with a Desert Eagle handgun in his hand on the ground. Probably not seen by anyone. As you know, the common occurrence. Why even point it out? Might as well just say she saw a bird on a windy day. They're out there. We see them. She hesitated to pick up the gun, but nowadays she grasped it and went forth but nowadays she grasped it and went forth to Five Guys. Sorry for yawning. This really is putting me to sleep. At Five Guys, she met the worker, the place who attended her, a sweaty, greasy, blue-haired, pale woman with a myriad of piercings on her face. Welcome to Five Guys. Can I take your order? Oh, wait, that's Zoe Quinn, isn't it?
Welcome to Five Guys. Can I take your order?
She asked. Thuthan then pulled out a gun and pointed it at the worker.
Don't fucking move, and don't call the police. Or your manager.
Don't call the police
Or your manager.
The fuck? Give me something to eat or I'll blow your brains out. The Five Guys woman instantly sweats and shakes in terror as she proceeds to attend Susan's demands.
Yeah, sure. What do you want?
I want a bacon cheeseburger, a grilled cheese sandwich, large fries, and a large soda, free of charge. The workers at Five Guys attended her demands with no problem and took a while to prepare the order and deliver it to Susan. But then the manager came in out of the toilet. I think toilet might be the most used word in this. You can get rid of things like the, and like pronouns like I. I think toilet is number one.
Don't be a fucking hero, you stupid goy.
Susan yelled at the manager, but the manager couldn't even listen, so Susan didn't hesitate to pull the trigger at the manager. There's a space, it's like end clause. The gun had no bullets. Susan, shocked, grabbed her order, ran towards her car and got in, and then sped up away far into San Bruno. She knew she fucked up colossally, and now people are going to be after a woman in a beanie with a strange Picasso makeup on her face. So before she got home, she tried to escape the line of sight of the public driving toward a hill in the outskirts of San Bruno with no one to be seen. Jesus Christ. All right, Act 2, Chapter 5, page 33. Wondering when Act 3 is going to start because we only got 14, 15 pages left. What the fuck? Let me get some water. This is so bad that as I read it, my tongue is becoming sandpapery like a cat's. It's grinding up my mouth. It was the dark of the night. The night was moist. In the hill. There's just one. In the hill of San Bruno outskirts, Thuthan pondered upon the night sky overview of the city while she was having her meal from Five Guys. She did feel nothing. Not she felt nothing, she did feel nothing. No signs of regret were shown on Thuthan's feelings. Only extreme frustration.
Bruce goes, it was the best of toilets. It was the worst of toilets. Now is the winter of my discounted Walmart gift card, and when you take a shit, I'll eat it.
As she finished her meal, she cleaned up her makeup and took off her beanie, revealing her true self. A bitter CEO of YouTube was there, waiting the night until everyone forgets what happened in the morning. No, Daystra, it's not really 130 pages. The reason the Amazon book is listed as that because you can pick the size of your book, and he picked a book that's about the size of a cell phone. Okay, I reformatted it. The way you tell is by word count, and I forget the math. I think it's like 300 words per page. You know, so his 18,000 word book is like 51 pages. Like, it's a sneaky thing people do. What was I doing? John stopped playing. No. She was about to sleep in the back of the car when all of a sudden she heard a noise. Guitar music was playing outside, and she saw behind her car that there was a flickering light in the distance. Someone was there. It was a dark and stormy bowel movement. Oh, shit. Someone was there. She couldn't afford having witnesses on top of the hill, so she found a conveniently placed butter knife on the car interior, and she went out to... Yeah, let me butter you to death. She went towards the light and hid behind the bushes to see a campfire with a bearded man playing a guitar next to it. It was Jack Conti, the CEO of Patreon. Once again, I did not write this shit. Do not ban me from Patreon if you wind up getting, like, farted or pooped on. The CEO of Patreon might have probably seen her do what she's done, so she sneaked up on him slowly and carefully behind him until she stepped on a branch and snapped it. Ugh. Ugh. Jack stopped playing the guitar and turned his head to see Susan. "Mrs. Washkiki," he asked. But Susan quickly stabbed Jack in the neck with the butter knife, making him profusely bleed from his throat. He wretched around in agony, screaming like a murdered kosher calf. While an instant, Susan was continuously stabbing the guy with her butter knife, repeatedly on his body, and then finally on his skull, until the man ceased to be. Susan realized she killed Jack Conti in cold blood. She had no regrets, but she knew that was going to leave a mark on her career. Yes, dead. His other book was Mein Kampf. I don't know what that one's about. He had one called How to Be Successful on YouTube, and it was just 20 pages that says it's not possible, you can't do it, repeated. I think his Mein Kampf book is probably the same kind of thing. I think all those have been delisted as well. You can't buy them. Nobody bought them, and now they're not available. She grabbed the body and dragged it to the nearest pile of bushes she could find. You know, I feel like this is when someone's like, dude, I found the ROM for this arcade game that nobody's played and that fucking sucks. Isn't that cool? It's like, nah, it's not cool. You should have just thrown it out. She grabbed the body and dragged it to the nearest pile of bushes. Oh yes, you know, you pile up your bushes. She hid the body within the bushes as concealed as she could possibly make, and she left the butter knife with the body. She then went back to the camping, and she used this opportunity to use the sleeping bag in the camp to sleep. She rolled up on the sleeping bag and tried to sleep, but the dreaded thought of what could possibly happen next kept Susan without sleep for a while. She struggled to start sleeping. Oh my god, say sleep one more time in this paragraph, you motherfucker. A solid minute before she took a deep breath and fell asleep, of course. Minecraft. The next morning, Susan was awakened by the ringtone of her Google Pixel. It was a call from Mrs. Ratzenberg herself. Yes, answered Susan.
Mrs. Washkiki, I was wondering where you've been. There's some bad news coming here.
Mrs. Ratzenberg sounded like she was shacking on the other side of the line. What is it?
Apparently we discovered something out there. One of our employees found out a frequency on ham radio that had conversations from people on the alt-right.
On ham radio?
Yes, and they're planning to raid the HQ of YouTube in a while.
Is security in the military aware?
So far, I don't know.
For some reason, she called you first.
But they're all gone from San Bruno and gone to Nevada for a second.
Wait, why?
They're all defending Area 51 on orders of Mr. President. Of Mrs. President. People are raiding Area 51 right now for some reason. There are people running towards the base.
This is awful. They got into an entire bloodshed right now. Does Sundar know about it? Like, I really want to be enthusiastic and not sound sad, but I can't be enthusiastic about this. This stinks.
I heard nothing from him ever since. I try calling him, but he doesn't somehow respond.
That's weird.
Where are we going to do now?
I'll find a way to solve this. It will be extremely desperate.
Okay, I'll keep contact with you.
And then Miss Ratzenberg hung up, and then Susan stood up from her sleeping bag for a minute. She thought something was wrong. She didn't even know anything about it, and when she knew about it, it seemed already to be too late. She needed an incredibly desperate solution since all what's happened sounded like her doom. Oh my god, finally, Act fucking 3. Act 3, page 1. Page 35 of 47, meaning there are 13 pages left. Fuck. Let's see, 13, 26, 39, 50. We're more than a quarter, 3/4 of the way done. Fuck. And Garfield would win in a fight, dead. He would kick Tilbert off the table. Don't be ridiculous. Through them was pondering upon the possibility to redeem herself on top of the San Bruno Hill. She knew that she was going back to Mark Zuckerberg for a solution, but she didn't know what to ask him. How about you ask him how you get the brain chip you said you didn't fucking have? All she was aware of is that he was seemingly doing very well despite the circumstances. He strangely seemed unaffected by all this. Then she thought, what?
It was very
Oh, wait,
expensive.
Big Guy super chatted $5. Finish your gristle.
All right, thank you, big guy. Now imagine John Candy. He eats the 30-pound steak. He eats the gristle. And then he goes and takes his shit. And he's like, oh, okay, guys, I'm done. Do I get my t-shirt now? And they're like, but you shit out 5 pounds of it. Go eat that shit. That's what I'm at. I ate the steak. I ate the gristle. Now I gotta eat my own puke and shit and vomit and cum. Ugh. All she was aware of is that he was seemingly doing very well despite the circumstances. Oh, by the way, guys, I have my popping filter. Let me lift it up. Pop, pop, pop. Lower it. Pop, pop, pop. How does it sound? Because, you know, I didn't listen to the last stream, and I'm wondering if it lowers my audio altogether. It definitely fixes the popping of the P's because I used it for a couple of projects already. But I'm not sure how it sounds live. Anyways, while you guys think about that, I'll get back to it. Then she thought, what was that spirited pepperoni thing Mark talked to her about? She thought it was some awkward way to call a grilled barbecue lunch, but then she came up with an epiphany on her mind. Spirited pepperoni sounded like a bunch of John Podesta talk. You're not Ethan Ralph. You would have crashed into my fucking house with a car. And then found a way to brag about it. Fuck. Okay, where was I? Then she thought, what was this spirit? Oh, fuck, I did that. It could mean something, must be really something powerful with that. Could probably be a good idea to ask Zuckerberg about these spirited pepperoni or something. She picked up the car and drove downhill to San Bruno, but on her way she found out the military was entirely absent and the racist posters returned to their place. Yeah, it's called 4chan. There was absolutely no one around the downtown. The place was entirely deserted and void of any human life. This really wasn't smelling any good for Susan. Oh, that reminds me, after my next video, I'm going to finish my book, and then I'm going to do a stand-up. And one of the jokes I came up with, I'm not going to spoil, but it'll be like 45 minutes to an hour of stand-up. It won't be 100% about COVID, but the through line will be COVID. You know, we'll have some Biden stuff. Think of it like how I used to do my my yearly social justice roast, right? But longer. I'll probably actually physically show up on camera. Maybe in a tuxedo, maybe in a thong, maybe both. Anyways, I'm getting distracted because this is really bad, and I'd rather talk about anything else. Fuck. The time she arrived at Mark's house, she parked the car, got out, took a deep breath, thinking afterwards herself, everything is going to be all right, everything is going to be good, but she couldn't calm herself dead. Beaker Sneaker, I used to do face videos all the time, and then YouTube deleted them. My face is on the back of my books, so there is that. Then she looked at a larch. She looked at a larch next of Mark Zuckerberg's house. Isn't a larch the tree they wanted you to look at in Monty Python? Fuck. It was a big, beautiful larch with sprawling clean leaves. Holy shit, it is the larch. The larch. Which extended up to the house roof. In fact, it was a larch so big it could look like it was about to penetrate Mark's house at any moment. But regardless, it was a calming larch with flowers on top of its branches. And it reminded Susan of a time of tranquility long before this storm happened. The calm of the neighborhood was way back and represented by this very large tree. The call of her neighborhood reminded her of the good old days when she was at the top of her success with her own company YouTube. She thought of the good times when her platform was fruitful. I'm adding this joke, rather than full of fruits. When she didn't get in any trouble and when everything was fine on her own platform. There was no military securing her HQ, there were no big issues, there were no celebrities being mind-controlled into suicide. She momentarily felt relieved that these times were going to come back as soon as she settled business with all of this at once. Daystra, I've been interested in the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. I think if you go by the case that was there, he'll be let go scot-free. But the jurors could be intimidated, and they might throw the book at him just so they don't get their town burned down. Though I do think if that happens, the judge might declare a mistrial with prejudice, meaning the whole thing is dismissed, and they can't start it again. But then there will be a civil trial, because, fucking lawyers. Anyways, back to this. Ask me the next stream what I think about that, and I'll give you a long explanation. She rang the bell of Mark Zuckerberg's house, and the doorbell sounded like the melody of a typical Facebook anniversary video. It was weird, but Susan went with it anyway. She waited a couple minutes before Mark opened the door and greeted Susan.
Hi, Susan. What's going on?
Mark, I need your help. I'm in deep shit right now. I need a solution as soon as possible.
I know, Mark replied. I've seen it. You don't need to worry. I've got you covered.
You know what this spirited pepperoni thing is? Mark then flickered his tongue around and blinked repeatedly, and he was hesitant to explain.
You know what it is, right?
Susan nodded in affirmation.
It's my specialty, down in the basement. But before that, I can get you a coffee.
Susan knew she was in a rush, but had to calm down and cheer up a bit, so she agreed. Sure, I'll have the coffee.
All right, come in. Welcome to my humble abode,
Mark replied. They both entered their house and settled up for the coffee. In Mark's kitchen, Susan was ready for anything she had to take on. Obviously, it's going to be poisoned. She's going to wake up, strapped to a bed, and I don't know, someone poops an ice cream and she has to eat it. We're on page 37 of 47, only 11 more. Chapter 2 of Act 3. Holy fuck. I hate this. This is like playing Cold Fear. Condensed into 3 hours. Susan and Mark entered the kitchen, and there was Mark's Asian wife preparing coffee for both of the two. Something was weird, but both Mark and his wife knew they were going to have coffee, but this was certainly fine for Susan. They both have coffee on the kitchen table.
So, what's going on?
I'm in deep shit right now. My company's going down the toilet with investors running away like scared rabbits. I've done things that might get me in prison, and people have me as a laughing stock for an embarrassing prank video I did a while ago. Gaseous Clay, I will replay Cold Fear when... this is the official audiobook. You're right, Torsh. It's now official. I will play it again when Fuzz plays through the whole thing, and then I gotta put a bounty on it because I fucking hate that game.
I see, that's okay. I know we all do embarrassing things sometimes, and I know best.
There must be some kind of miracle where I can get out of all this.
Well, you may know what spirited pepperoni really does. It's quite a chilling grill. We got the materials down in the basement for spirited pepperoni. Especially the pepperoni. Who wouldn't miss the pepperoni?
This is satire, don't forget. This is satire. Yes, that sounds good enough. Yes, that sounds good enough. Will it solve anything?
It will make life easier for you.
They both finished their coffee, and Mark started getting a little bit serious in the face.
Susan, are you ready for this? There might not be any going back to those bad times.
Susan had a flashback. From when she was at Google, she remembered the sacrifice for which she had all those riches and fortunes. The time with Mr. Cohen, she knew she had to do it again. Oh, that was the prologue, where they sacrificed the baby. Okay. Susan and Mark went into the middle of the house, down the basement, behind a white wooden small door. Through a tight staircase, the basement was certainly slightly dark, with a small window opening the outs in a cyclopean staircase down the Ibulian chairs. Ah! Some Lovecraft shit. On the middle, there was a painted wheel symbol with a strange runes written all over in chalk white. And on the other side of the room, there was a curtain. "We shall begin." Mark then clapped his hands, and the young boy, nearly naked, came out of the curtain. Susan was certain that this was needed. Her true master needed another sacrifice. Mark started speaking in tongues. In a strange, slithering language that would be properly spoken by a lizard. Susan felt strange. This was probably not a human, and Mark's tongue flickered constantly as he spoke that demonic language. He spoke faster and faster and louder as he did. His eyes started to transform into those of a reptile. Susan went through and stood. As the ritual went on, Mark's skin started to shapeshift into a greenish skin tone. His skin started dropping out to reveal bits of scales, and Mark's alien mantra had him ecstatic. But then a gunshot broke through the basement windows and shot Mark in the head. The ritual was interrupted. Mark dropped quickly into the ground, having sudden spasms, screeching lizard noises while bleeding profusely, some sort of white liquid blood. Mark, as opposed to solid blood. Susan grasped Mark in his dying moment. "Don't you fucking die on me, Mark." But it was too late. Mark was fatally shot and exhaled his last reptilian breath. The ritual could not be done. Then Susan saw something outside of the basement window. A pair of feet on Doc Martens walked away slowly. Susan knew something was going on there. "Gee, what was your first clue, bitch?" She got out of the basement and saw that my fat Asian wife, Susan, was also killed. Her mangled corpse, or was it her mongoloided corpse, hanged on the kitchen table with a bullet hole on all of her bodies, and somebody had unloaded their ammo on her. Once again, I did not write this shit. I don't endorse it. I hate it. Susan walked slowly towards the house exit and opened the door slowly. There was nobody outside. She was hearing in the long distance the sounds of gunfire and explosions, muffled tens of miles away. She was alone until she walked out of the front yard. Suddenly, she encountered two men. Chapter 3 of Act 3, page 39 to 47. 8 more blessed pages of this horse shit left. How are we going to wrap it up? Oh, the character arcs and all these plot lines. She ate the poo-poo, and she killed the guy with a butter knife. Woo! The two men in front of her looked very aggressively at Susan. One of them was a Swedish-looking Aryan man with a short toupee, a beard patch, and clothed like a skinhead. He had a swastika tattooed above his right eyebrow, a very small one. Susan suddenly recognized this man, PewDiePie. She asked. That description did not match PewDiePie. Next to him there was another man, friend of his, who sported a blonde undercut with brown-shaved hair, his facial hair, a lip piercing on top of the bottom lip, thick eyebrows, and just look terry coat. Susan recognized him as Felix Kjellberg. Oh, you stupid motherfucker, you put your real name on it. It was some guy. Oh wait, Felix is a PewDiePie, that's right. It was Felix Kjellberg and Jim Ma from the video from several weeks ago. Both were armed to the teeth. Felix had an assault rifle and a Glock pistol, and Jim Ma. Oh my god. You write yourself into the book shooting her with fucking PewDiePie? Why didn't you just write yourself into the Sam Hyde part? You could skip all the shit in the middle, you idiot. What is PewDiePie? PewDiePie, you sure as hell recognize me, you bitch, shouted Felix. I'm pretty sure you also recognize my friend Jim here. You know I were here, Mrs. Washkiki, asked Jim. Susan nodded negatively. Well, I know our relationship hasn't been all very nice. As you may know, I am currently the most subscribed channel on BitChute. Oh, you know, that platform you nearly squashed. Yes,
That one. After so many years of you fucking both of us, like we were some kind of second-class citizens, we think we got pending business with you.
Both men advanced slowly towards Susan while she retreated along with them backwards. They looked extremely menacing by the way they walked towards Susan. My fat wife, Susan.
Especially me, continued Felix. Look at me, I was the top of the channel on your platform you years back. I had it all. You only had to kiss the ass of T-Series, and now you've done what you've done to me. It's not very nice of you, Susan.
Susan was scared spineless. She didn't know what to do. Either stand there or run away. She was thinking of the latter when she sprinted away from the two men like the Roadrunner from the Wile E. Coyote. Thanks for clarifying which Roadrunner. I thought you meant the car. Towards her way to YouTube HQ.
You're not going anywhere,
warned Jim, as both of the men pulled out their guns and started shooting Susan. Not shooting after her, but shooting her. Oh, Bruce Goldberg used, when you're a member, instead of super chats, you can do like a free highlighted message. He says, well, it's not free, you paid for it. Just admit that this is the first draft of my Europe prequel. Don't scapegoat poor Jim Ma. No, I didn't write this. No. I only read the first page up until this point, and I thought maybe I could buy the rights to it off of him and write a foreword and put it out. No, I'm not putting my name on this shit. Like, there are things that are so bad they're funny. This is just bad. That's why it's taking so long, because I have to keep adding jokes where there aren't any. Alright, so they did shoot her. It's not that they shot at her, it's that they shot her. They both run street after street around every corner while Susan was trying to dodge gunfire. She then found a hiding spot in a dumpster and she hid in. Fuck this. The two men had stopped around the dumpster looking for her. Where are you, Susan? They yelled as they were trying to find them. Susan was afraid for her own life. She was trying to conceal her heavy breathing. As she was inside the dumpster, she nearly had her senses spinning, and she was nearly about to vomit as she felt the stench of fresh, rotted garbage slide through her nostrils like a fresh girl gamer fart. There is the first simile of the novel. She needed to get out, but the two men were looking outside for her and wanted to turn her into Swiss cheese. What, are you making a sandwich? Fuck. Ah, you gonna put some mushrooms on that sandwich? Piece of shit. But suddenly she broke a glass bottle inside the dumpster. It made a cracking glass noise. Thanks for clarifying what that sounds like. I had no idea. The two men looked towards the dumpster where this book belongs. Right in the fucking trash. Ew. They found her and she had to escape. As the men approached the dumpster very closely, she jumped out of the dumpster and knocked the two guys down, and she ran away before the two could get back up and keep firing. She looked desperately for a new hiding spot, but she knew that she had to get to YouTube HQ and call the authorities. She knew she was doomed. They spent a good while running from street to street in hot pursuit, but then a gunshot struck Susan's calf. She dropped down to the ground, crippled in one leg, and she remained trying to drag herself across the pavement. The two men walked towards Susan faster than Susan could ever be, and then Felix grabbed Susan by her suit and shot Susan repeatedly in the stomach as he was roaring, "I'm going to turn you into bitch lasagna." Then, as Susan was nearly fatally wounded on the ground, she saw Jim, his name was Jim, grabbed the baseball bat and was about to strike. "Sweet dreams, bitch." He then struck the blow with the bat on her head. Everything was black. I do not endorse this shit. one, it's poorly written, and two, this totally constitutes a threat against somebody's life. Like, honestly, I get why you'd be banned if you wrote this. Because you're like, oh, I'm on your service, and I want to shoot and kill you. That's real professional. Okay, Chapter 4, Act 3, page 41 of 47, 7 pages to go. Oh my god. Thu then started to regain consciousness. It went from complete darkness to slowly opening her eyes in a fraction of a minute. When she opened her eyes, she saw the fluorescent lights on a white padded ceiling on top of her, and next to her a medical bag was injected into Susan's arm. They injected a medical bag. She was in a hospital bed filled with bandages and wounds. They put bandages inside of her. She took a while to regain full consciousness. Then a doctor approached and looked at her. It was an old, almost nearly balding doctor with gray hair and a pair of old-fashioned glasses. He was speaking something about her waking up and something else she didn't understand. He had conversations which were muffled to Susan's consciousness, not understandable enough to make up a thing about it. She then started hearing on the window's side of her right very muffled sounds of gunfire and explosions, and the roaring of a wrathful... What was the bit about pepperoni? They were going to chop up babies for Moloch. She didn't even know what was going on in San Bruno. She couldn't even think. Her brain was too busy trying to recover from his spinning senses. All of this that was going on. The doctor got closer to her face. "Take it easy," the doctor told Susan, and then Susan fell asleep again. Then she woke up after a while. The doctor was right next to her, and he was able to regain her full consciousness as she looked at the doctor. "What happened? Where am I?" "You're at San Bruno Hospital," the doctor answered. "You have suffered from a fatal..." "It's not fatal if she lives, stupid." "Abdominal wounds, head concussions with a shot in the calf. Don't worry, we've taken care of everything and saved you after a long medical procedure." "Those men, what about them?" "Authorities took care of them, Mrs. Washkicki." "I need to get back to my company. It's in danger now." "I am afraid you can't do that, Miss Washkicki. We need to keep you here resting until all your vitals are healed and wounds fully recovered." The doctors gave Susan a pat on the shoulder as she was starting to shed a tear. Now take some sleep," told the doctor to Susan. Susan couldn't do anything. She was lying there heavily wounded like a dying animal, and she was not in the condition of doing barely anything. Now the doctor said, "If it helps you sleep, I brought you a clown to cheer you up a bit." Then the President of the United States, McFarty Donkey, came into the hospital room. What a twist! "Mrs. President," Susan, shocked, was said as she came in. What was the Miss Farty Donkey voice?
"Yes, Mrs. Washkicki. Little did you know I was not only the prez, but also a good old clown."
Then Miss Farty Donkey started to show by juggling balls with both of her hands in front of Susan while the president was making weird seal noises. It became incredibly hypnotic.
"I kept juggling in one long unending sentence, moving from topic to topic, so that no one could interrupt. It was really quite hypnotic."
To Susan, and she started to fall asleep again. She was feeling droopy as long as she was seeing the joggling, not juggling, joggling balls dance on the president's hands like a spiral. Yeah, this is like Death Stranding. This is legit just as bad as Kojima's writing. Fuck. And then Susan fell asleep. Susan awoke again. The hospital room was empty and completely deserted. The doctor came into the room as soon as she woke up. But then it wouldn't be empty because it was as soon as she woke up. If there was a delay, it could have been empty and then he came in. Who gives a fuck? Okay, said the doctor. According to your vitals, you should be fine to walk again now. Can you try to stand up, please? Susan clumsily stood up on the bed and Ed sitting up on the side of it, and she felt a subtle pain on her back. That's what this book is all about, being subtle. Good, the doctor pointed. Now, how do you feel? I feel hungry, Susan told the doctor. What, is she gonna fuck a gay guy in Dragon Age 2? I know that audio choice, you fuck. Well, I'll bring up the nurse in a minute with a meal. Stay here. The doctor then left the hospital room only to leave Susan to get visited by Hillary Clinton herself, having a smoke on her way in. Well, Hillary spoke, this has gone an extreme. It seems I'm aware you know what is going on, isn't it? Makes no fucking sense, that sentence. I don't know what's going on, Susan replied. Well, for starters, that embarrassing video of yours, that is one hell of a coincidence. Then the Epstein case. They have confirmed your connection to Jeffrey Epstein, and now they're gonna go after you all. Why would Hillary not have a connection, but watch Kiki does? All of this chaos outside happens, and combined with the stuff that video, that would make you liable for prison time. They'll make me talk? Yeah. Besides, YouTube HQ is in flames now. You can hear all the noise outside. Susan heard it. She stood up and went to the window and saw in the distance that YouTube HQ was in complete utter chaos. She heard all the noise of gunfire, explosions, and screaming from there. A tear ran through her cheek. Hillary continued, There's no other choice, says Google, as well as in complete ruins. Sundar fell like a domino piece too, so I left you some tools in the wardrobe next to your hospital bed. That's the choice I give you. There's no other. Because dead women don't talk? Susan spoke as she slightly wept. Exactly. Hillary continued as she took another huff of smoke. Now I'll leave you to your own. Hillary left the room and left Susan alone. Susan watched. Kiki knew that this was the end. There was nothing else to do to stop. She's finished. Page 44 of 47, 4 pages left. Chapter 5 of Act 3. Can we survive this horse shit? Susan opened her wardrobe next to her hospital bed. What she saw shocked her unconceivably, which is not a word. She saw a hangman's noose and a gun. She knew what she had to do, so that she couldn't speak up about whatever atrocities she did with Epstein. Coward's way out is the only way she could take, and it had to be somehow to save her peers. My God. What? I do the Hulk Hogan voices I want to, motherfucker. You got a problem with that, brother? Well, what are you gonna do when I shit all over my hands and write these 40-inch pythons around your neck? Butch. No. Oh, yes, Bruce, I have seen the guy say 1 × 1 = 2, and that is racist if you say that he's not. Why are you asking me that? We gotta focus on this. I want to be done this shit and go to bed. Fucking hate this. But she knew maybe her peer's not as reliable as she thinks. It was like an equal game between sociopath and another sociopath. No matter who wins, everybody just loses. Her peers like Hillary, Mrs. President, Sundar, or even Epstein would literally sell her or others like her for their own gain. And she knew that she was conned from the start, and she had no other choice than ending her miserable life. So she was decided. I'll do it, said Susan. Susan started with the hangman noose as she started silently weeping, tears through her face. Yes, that's what you weep. They're tears and they're from your face. She grabbed a stool nearby in the hospital room. When she stood up, she hung the noose on the fluorescent light bulbs on top of the ceiling, and then she tied it around her neck. She hesitated in doing that. She was breathing heavily before she could even manage to do it, and then she had the determination to drop the stool. But then the weight gave in and the fluorescent light she was hanging from crumbled down, so she had the setup of the manufacturing of the ceiling, and it wasn't enough to suspend Susan in the air. Duh. Those things are held on with wire, you stupid cunt. So she fell down to the ground and she got up in extreme pain She screamed in agony as she felt every bone in her body about to crumble. Then, when she stood up, she went back to the wardrobe and grabbed the handgun from it and put the barrel in her mouth. She was profusely sweating bullets as she had the barrel in her mouth as she was about to pull the trigger. If you're wondering why I'm changing voices, it's because my voice hurts from all this talking, so I got to do different voices. She again hesitated to do so as she thought of the family she had, which, by the way, we haven't even shown in this fucking book. What would they think? What would they do? But she didn't care either. She wanted to end it all and do a favor, so she pulled the trigger. Again, end sentence, no bullets. Susan ended up becoming speechless. She couldn't believe it wasn't going to be so easy. She became desperate and panicked like a lunatic all across the hospital room, and she snapped. She looked at the window. She ran towards the window and broke the glass. Oh, is this like going to be like that movie where they make the guy kill himself, but he lands on a big, soft, fluffy thing, and it was like, oh, it's for your birthday. She screamed like a kamikaze, going straight into its target. She heard the glass cut all over her skin and her entire body. She was about to plummet. Plus, it was the top of a 30-story tall building, tall enough for doom. She dropped like an anvil down below into the depths, which is the worst level of Dark Souls 1. And she crashed. Every bone of her body cracked open. Oh, that's right, the movie's the game. Thanks. Great movie, by the way, even though the plot makes no sense. Every internal organ of hers was destroyed in the process, as she somehow remained with a tiny bit of consciousness as with leaving this world. Fuck, she really did it. Oh, this is the end. As she was dying, one stray dog came by Susan's body. The dog sniffed a bit of Susan's remain. As the dog turned around, he licked pee onto her upper body so that left Susan a stench of fresh dog urine. And the dog left, never to be seen again, and as Susan was about to take her final exhale, bleeding out all of her orifices opening, she heard something, a song in the distance from a passing car that was slowly passing by Susan.
Fire, I'll take you to burn. Fire, I'll take you to learn. I'll see you burn.
The lyrics, so familiar, shed a tear on Susan's eye as she gave her last breath. And so was the end of Susan Wajcicki. Epilogue, page 46 of 47. Okay, Susan saw then a light at the end of a tunnel. She didn't know what it was, but a voice in the distance told her, "Come to the light," said the ominous voice. "Where am I?" Susan asked, confused.
"Come to the light,"
the ominous voice repeated. Susan had no other choice. She ran to the light. She ran as fast as she could towards the shine of the light as it was getting closer, and the moment she reached it, a blinding white light shined upon her. Susan was definitely in the afterlife. She saw a golden gate secured by an old black man on a lectern reading some book on it. Susan was confused, so she approached the black man and asked him, "Where am I?"
"Bitch, where do you think you are, N-word?" the black man said. "This motherfucker shit is heaven behind me, N-word."
Am I going to heaven?" The black man laughed hysterically as he answered,
"Oh, hell no, you stupid hoe. What do you think this shit is, N-word? Did you really think you were going to heaven after all that shit? You what, N-word? Listen, after the deal you made with that motherfucking Lucifer, N-word, what do you expect, you stupid hoe? Plus, you a Jew, N-word. They don't go to heaven."
Susan was shocked. "Then where am I going?"
"Well, N-word," the man answered, "after all this shit of yours that I've been grinding my ass with on reading."
"Oh, you've been grinding reading. Fuck you. How about me? Don't piss in my shoe and tell me it's fucking yellow delicious juice, you fuck."
"I thought, you know what, N-word? You's be going straight to hell, and you be having some motherfucking fun down there. What with all the fire and the brimstone ugly ass demons and probably some real gangster shit."
This is the funniest part so far. It's not that good, but it's the best part so far. Susan didn't even know what to say. She was astounded on her final destination as the black man kept chastising her. You know what? If you have her die when Sam Hyde walks in and you cut everything else out, and you go to the epilogue, and then you expand on her being in hell, and then she comes back to life. It's like Scrooge, in Christmas Carol, and she changes her ways. That would have made for a better premise, I think, but whatever. He pressed the button, and underneath Susan, a hole opened in the ground. With the screams of agony, all the souls of the damned who were grabbing onto her feet pulled Susan down until she fell down into the hole. As she fell a whole good while down into the pit of fire, brimstone, agony, and pain, along with the screams of the tormented souls screeching besides her. And she kept falling until she hit rock bottom in the ground. She saw the visage of hell as a disgusting, terrible place where everyone was condemned there to be an eternity of suffering. Then she saw the demons. The demons were wretched abominations with multiple spider legs, but the bodies and the faces are familiar. Susan knew it was the faces and bodies of those she ended up banning, condemning them to mental torture, that it supposes such censorship. And the demons roared as they approached Susan slowly to feast on her. This really was the end for Susan Washkicki. Okay, that's enough of that shit. Wow, what a fucking shitload of fuck. Oh, now I get why the video game nerd used to talk like that. What an absolute buffalo donkey duty dick. Fuck you. Jesus God almighty. I want to go back in time so that Nazis can burn that book too. Holy fuck. Okay, so I will say for any aspiring writers, the first step to writing a good book is to write a bad one and then pull out like 3 interesting aspects. And, you want to get a word count on toilet? Sure. You take out the interesting aspects, you throw everything else out, and then you write an even worse book than the first one. But then you got some more interesting things, you pull those out, and then the third time you might have something that won't make you cringe when you read it later. And just keep doing it. This really feels to me like draft 1. Especially since the day he showed it to me, I was like, great, let me edit it for you for free. And then he put it out the next day. Holy shit. Okay, people wanted word counts on poo and toilet. So let's see, toilet? How many matches? Toilet has... only 6. Okay. Feces? 5. Poo without a P, because that'll give me poop and poopy and all the other stuff. 3. What about shit? Do we got shit? 4 for shit. And let's look up the word beautiful. Oh, the larch. I forgot about the big, beautiful larch tree. What about pretty? Oh, well, it's not used in the sense of being good to look at. It's pretty short, it's a pretty long way, it's a pretty thing we're doing. Ugh, yes, I am stoked to never read that again. Your message is on a white background, but I can tell. Yeah, I am glad he didn't ask me to actually edit it. Wow. That was bad. Oh, quickly. You want a word count on quickly? That's one. That's probably the most used. Oh, it's 7. It beats toilets by 1. You're right. I quickly left. I quickly this. Pound for pound, I would say Cold Fear is worse. But I had COVID when I played Cold Fear. Like, really bad COVID. So that might be influencing it. I might replay that game next year and actually love it. I doubt that, though. That game's a fucking hunk of shit. Well, okay, guys. I'm glad, you stuck it through with me. Next week, we'll actually do some video game stuff. I know people are trying to guilt me into playing that Halo beta. Frankly, I don't know that I care about Halo. I'm kind of done. But, thanks for coming out. If you liked the book by Jim Ma, go to the Amazon page, leave a review. Maybe he'll be, no, I have not played the thing. Maybe he'll be motivated, or she will be motivated, and they will re-release the book so you can buy it and burn it at home. Would I ever reread this? Or would I rather? Geez. I mean, I could drag my nuts through broken glass without cutting myself, so long as I move the broken glass with my nuts. So, no, I would do that. When will Fuzzhow pay Jama and play Cold Fear? Never, because he's a butt. He's a fucking butt. He smells, and he's a fart. And when you see him, you should punch him, because he still owes me that Futanari picture. Alright, everybody, thanks for coming out. God bless you, black little souls, and good night. And don't forget to watch the new video I just put out.